Take this damn parade. Who cares? Joe, there's a 2-mile wait to get past the damn green line.
Anyone who gets scared by a bear in the neighborhood, call Joe Murray.
I happen to trust Joe Murray.
First time I ever met Joe Murray was at a Hooter.
I survived food poisoning. I'm here. I'm alive. Maybe I should add food poisoning survivor to my social media handles. Loaded show for you guys tonight. Lots to get into, lots to talk about. I feel like there's everything and nothing going on at the same time. If you want to get in on the show, 617-779-0985 is the phone number. I'm here with you until 11 o'clock. Only other person here, Skaz. Skaz, how we doing?
Kendra, I'm doing great. It's a Friday night. How are we?
I'm good. It is a Friday night. I'm actually clopening the Sports Hub, which I feel like whenever I'm here on a Friday is just a given. So I'm closing with you tonight, opening with you tomorrow. We're going to do everything but gambling tonight because we're going to do gambling in the morning the same way you guys just did an hour of the Red Sox. So we could do Red Sox here. That's the obvious way to open. They're getting ready to play a game right now at Fenway Park, which we will keep you updated the entire night how that game goes. So thank you for tuning in to us if you are listening instead of the Red Sox. That is a very bold choice of you. But we are here until 11. I want to start while it's hot with the Hall of Fame game. I know that that's probably not the most obvious place to start here, but, you know, you got to let me and Alex Barth and the sickos have a moment, okay? There was a lot of hate about the preseason and the Hall of Fame game and people who love both of these things on Twitter yesterday. And to you all, I would like to say, disrespectfully, I hope you feel stupid. I hope you stubbed your toe today. I hope you step on some Legos. I hope that your car stalls out at a stoplight. I don't wish anything actually bad on anybody, but I hope you feel dumb today and you are inconvenienced in some minor way because last night ruled so hard. And yes, the Red Sox are fun right now. And yes, they're kicking butt and taking names. And yes, the American League sucks, so it's injecting some hope into this town, a town where kids were not being fed at the 99 as of late and will soon need to be on Ozempic. But football, this is a football town. This is a football town, baby. You guys are football fans, and football is back. And I get most of the time nobody cares about the Hall of Fame game. And you know what? In the middle of the summer, we were all like, I would take a crappy Thursday night football game right now. And on paper, it seemed like the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers on not Thursday night football would be an absolute snooze fest. And you know what we got? A game that if that were a playoff game would have ruled so hard. I gotta be honest, and this might be a hot take in these here parts, but that was better than the Super Bowl. I gotta be honest, that was more fun, that was more entertaining, and we watched a majority of Carson Beck and Caden Slovis and just absolute no-names play last night, except for Haynes King. Shout out Alex Barth. Great shout by him on Haynes King and Kenny Pickett. Like, the Kenny Pickett, Carson Beck graphics were doing absolutely nothing for me, and now they have done absolutely everything for me. That was awesome. And if you don't feel ready for football season after last night, I don't know what to tell you. Have fun when I'm going to give out a hot take. When the Red Sox inevitably fall apart, have a good time. You're going to get ready to learn football, buddy, because it's coming, and this is a football town. I have to say, I had a couple takeaways from last night. One, I never in a million years would have thought that I would say out loud, let alone on these airwaves, I kind of missed Chris Collinsworth. I know that that is going to get so much hate and people are going to be so upset and so annoyed by that. And do I think that he's the greatest at his job? No. But man, is he entertaining, and when he retires in a weird way, we are all going to miss him. Because when he started speaking last night, I was like, oh, I forgot that it's going to be him. But then I was like, you know what? Football's back. I don't even care. Give it to me, Chris Collinsworth. Be as weird as you want. Do your worst. Because this just means that football is back. And I know people here hate to wish away the summer, and I'm one of these people where when I see pumpkin spice is coming back, I'm like, bleh, ugh, get it away from me. That means cold weather is coming. I don't want that. The whole reason to live here is to live here in the summer because the weather's nice. People are in a good mood for once. There's not 4 feet of snow on the ground. It's not raining. It's not dark for the, majority of the year. I don't want to wish summer away. And I honestly think that pumpkin spice is pretty overrated. Like, do I get one a year when it comes out? Yeah. But I'm not one of these pumpkin spice freaks. I'm a summer person. But I have an itch for football and Chris Collinsworth, apparently. I want to know your opinion out there. If you care, you can tweet me. You can call me, beat me if you want to reach me. You can do whatever you want. But what is the bigger story here for this upcoming season? Is it Carson Beck or Haynes King? Because we talk about college football all the time on the Saturday show. I know Joe Murray loves to talk about it, so you're Joe Murray's audience. I know you guys probably like to talk about it. You want, in the transition to the NFL, a quarterback with experience and years of experience, because that means that they've played more football and hopefully the game has slowed down a little bit for them. And both of the quarterbacks from last night had that. And to be fair, they were playing against basically, glorified college kids. And I think that that also does them a service. But Carson Beck is 24, even though he feels like he's 35 and older than me. And I've been watching him since I was in elementary school. And Haynes King is 25. Carson Beck played in 3 national championship games, and both of these guys went to multiple schools. And I think that Carson Beck really might put the Arizona Cardinals in a pickle sooner than they would have liked to admit, because this feels to me like the classic case of a team paying a guy so they want to play him, and the team and the players rallying behind another. I can see that happening already. It happens all the time in the NFL, especially with, any kind of quarterback controversy. And Haynes King, Barth's guy, looked incredible last night. I was screaming, run, 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 run. And he did the pump fake. The defense looked at it, and he just took off. You can't teach those kinds of things. I mean, you can, but you either kind of have that or you don't. And to be honest, this is going to not only cause drama for the Cardinals with Carson Beck and Jacoby Brissett and their entire quarterback situation. And yes, I'm premature, and yes, I'm overreacting, but we do have a show to do today. Do we think that Haynes King, if Barth really is, the all-seeing eye of quarterback talent, let's pretend that he is because we love Barth on this show, do we think if Bryce Young pulls a Bryce Young, even though he had an incredible season last year? If you listen to me on Saturdays, you know that the Panthers were the biggest futures that I had, not only them to win the division, but them to have the over on their season. I was all about the Panthers last year. But that division's a little bit too chaotic this year. If he fumbles at all and Haynes King continues to impress, or God forbid, Bryce Young gets hurt and they put King in, and this is, a crazy hypothetical for, one game, the beginning of August. But last night juiced me up. Who does this cause more problems for? The Cardinals or the Panthers? And to be honest, I think we over-under Skaz. Do we see Carson Beck by week 7?
I would take under week 7, I think, in that.
Under week 7.
I think so. I think Jacoby Brissett stinks.
But they just paid him, and that kind of pays into my point of they just paid him. They probably want to pay. They probably want to play him. But sometimes those players do rally behind the guys that they're getting the most out of in practice, who are showing those flashes, and that really puts teams who don't really have an identity in a tough spot.
I also think the upcoming QB class will play into this, because isn't it supposed to be a loaded one coming up?
They say that all the time.
Well, yeah, but I feel like last year was not great, and then the hype was like, isn't this like Manning? Or it could be, potentially. Yes,
it is, yeah.
So I wonder if that plays into it at all. Like, if they start off slow, do they just ride Jacoby Brissett into the ground and hope for another top pick? Or if they truly believe in Carson Beck, then you got to throw him out there at some point.
And trust me, I recognize that this is a crazy thing with the Red Sox going on right now to open with. especially with them playing right now. But you guys just did an hour of baseball. And if you're anything like me and the majority of people I saw online last night, this just really got me so excited for the season. And I'm hoping it's not a bad omen of, oh my gosh, the Hall of Fame game was awesome. That means the rest of the season's going to suck. But if this is a preview for what we're going to get, I do really think that college football this year is going to be a bit of a snooze, and the NFL is going to be absolutely insane, because I know that it was insane last year because of the AFC quarterbacks getting hurt and there was a lot of question, and we saw freaking Phillip Rivers playing football at one point. Like, last year was crazy and it was entertaining, but there's a lot more kind of quarterback controversy and like the starting question marks this year. And I think that that's going to be where we make our bread and butter this season. Is there's always new teams in the playoffs. I think we're going to see a lot of new teams in the playoffs this year. I think that the changing of the guard in the NFL is coming a lot faster than people really like to admit, especially if the Patriots are good, which I was listening to Felger and Maz today. I heard Greg Bedard say some not great things about the way the offensive line is looking. That's a big concern for me. We're going to get into that later. I forgot to mention off the top, we do have a guest, a friend of mine, Tanya Ray Fox, is going to join us later in the evening. So stick around for her. She's going to do all things Patriots. We're going to also have another kind of Patriots training camp breakdown at some point. When we come back, I want to talk about last night's broadcast, bringing up the Rossini-Vrabel thing. I want to know from you guys if that was fair or foul of the broadcast. I have some thoughts on it. I have some opinions, some hot takes. This is the story that just keeps on giving. If you want to get in on tonight's show, 617-779-0985 is the number. I will take your calls on anything and everything you want. Like I said, there's stuff going on. The Red Sox are hot, but there's also not stuff going on. If you guys want to talk national NFL, if you want to talk literally whatever, it's a Friday in the beginning of August. Let's do it, because soon we will, like I said, be all football all the time on not just my show, but this station for the most part, it feels like, unless the Red Sox really do make a run of it until basketball and hockey get started. So give us a call. It's Kendra Middleton filling in for Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
I actually spoke with women today.
On the Sports Hub.
Sure. Well, this is the third time ever we've had a Super Bowl rematch. Remember, back in April, the Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel said he took accountability for his actions after photos emerged of him and longtime NFL reporter Diana Rossini. He left the team for the final day of the draft to be with his family and begin counseling before returning a couple of days later. But now that camp is open, I'm going to ask you, Devin, what's the impact on this team?
I think the thing you got to wonder is, it's going to start week one in Seattle. Like you said, that atmosphere, we were up there, Jason, last year. They look for Mike Vrabel. They look to him when things get tough. Do they still feel the same way? His character's been tested. Will this team follow him wherever he goes? That's going to be tested right away, week one.
And I tell you, when games start, winning matters. And so if they get off to a fast start, they got a chance to quiet some of that noise. If they don't, that noise could get extremely loud.
Until 11 o'clock tonight, if you would like to get in on the show, 617-779-0985 is the phone number. The audio you just heard, if you didn't listen to any of the other shows today, or you were busy watching the Red Sox last night, which I don't blame you if you were, instead of the Hall of Fame game, even though it was a banger, that was Maria Taylor, Mike Tomlinson, and Devin McCourty on the halftime show last night. And before we get into this, I have to say, I have been I think fairly critical of Mike Tomlin. I love him as a person. I love the type of leader he is, and it's beyond impressive what he's been able to get out of some of the rosters that he's had. That being said, I have also said that if he was in a major market like here or New York or Dallas or anywhere like that, he would have been fired a lot sooner than he stepped away just for the middling. But I have to say, he was awesome on the broadcast last night. I don't know if that's a hot take, if anybody else felt the same way, but I thought that he was a joy to watch last night. That being said, the broadcast, to me, called out the Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel saga last night. And to me, my question to you, I guess, is, was this fair or foul? And for me personally, I have been one of the first people to pick at this from absolutely every angle. It is the, kind of show that keeps on giving, for lack of a better term. It's been entertaining. And I know people here have hated it because it's been a distraction. It's been a way for the national media to clown on everybody in the situation here, and it leaves a lot of question marks heading into the season. But for those of you out there, I'm going to say that I thought that this felt a little foul. It felt a little random. It felt like a jab. It felt like it felt like Diana Rossini or Mike Vrabel rubbed somebody the wrong way. And it was just their first opportunity to talk about it and I'm not going to say clickbait because I don't think it's clickbait. I do think that it is obviously the biggest story of the offseason. I don't think that that's a hot take to say. But it felt misplaced. They weren't talking about the Patriots. The Patriots weren't playing. It felt random and out of place, especially because no news about this situation came out yesterday. It just felt like a dig. And I'm sure that I'm not alone in that because I saw this come up on Awful Announcing and I was watching it last night and I was like, okay, I guess like we have to talk about it. I don't know. To me, it really did feel like maybe one of them rubbed somebody the wrong way, or for me, when this whole thing came out, it did personally, and it's personal, I guess, because it felt like, wow, this leaves a bad taste in my mouth about the conversation that's currently being had about women in this industry, and it's just going to continue to fuel that, and that sucks. And I'm not going to put words in Maria Taylor's mouth. I'm not going to say anything accusing her of that, but maybe it was either her wanting to be like, yo, this was kind of nuts, even though she didn't really say that. But I think the worst thing about this for me, and maybe the reason that they ultimately brought it up, was because McCourty was there and available, and I don't know if he had something he wanted to say on it. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that anyone who's ever been involved in this organization or team at any moment actually wants to talk about this. But I wonder if he was prepared, if he was caught off guard. It felt like he was ready for the question in a way, but it just felt so awkward and out of place and unnecessary. And it felt yucky. And I'm someone who's loved this conversation, loved this story, not for obviously Diana Rossini's kids or husband or Vrabel's family or loved ones or whatever, but because during the summer when there's nothing else going on, unfortunately having something like this to talk about makes my job easier. It makes people call in. It's clicks, it's likes, it's streams, it's all of those things. And unfortunately, that's just the business that I'm in and the day and age that we live in. Those types of things unfortunately spread like wildfire. And that's also a part of the business. It's hard for me to I feel sympathy for everyone who's in any sort of limelight because the parasocial thing is crazy and getting canceled sucks. I certainly have gone through my fair share of moments online where I've said something dumb and people have no issue calling me out. And good for you. That's fine because I understand that this is part of the job. And when you have a forward-facing job, you got to be a little bit more careful than that. You got to be a little bit more careful than that about going about your business because woof. Let's go to Jay in Newport who wants to talk about the Vrabel and Rossini incident. Good evening, Jay. How are we?
Good, thanks. So I don't know if you heard 2 days ago, Aaron Rodgers was on the McAfee show and he brought up how ESPN was quiet about it. So I was thinking maybe they thought they needed to respond, and that's why they brought it up.
Okay, thanks for the call, Jay. I appreciate it. Last night was not... It won't let me drop him, Skaz. Last night wasn't an ESPN broadcast, so...
Maybe his point is that because it was NFL Network, they didn't want to be accused of avoiding it as ESPN was. You know, maybe... I mean, I think it's somewhat of a reach, but I can kind of understand that perspective.
I don't understand it because, let's be real, Aaron Rodgers is kind of an a-hole. He wants to talk about anything provocative to get anything off of himself. Skaz literally dropped an article in our Slack chat today about him posting a picture with his family and then being like, yeah, I'm never doing that again. It's just kind of to clear up some headlines and storylines that were out there. I just think that Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee are losers, and I'm blocked by Pat McAfee for calling him a loser. So I just think it's low-hanging fruit to me to kind of point at and talk about from that perspective, and it's kind of anything to get people off of Aaron Rodgers' case about his fake AI wife that might be Karen from SpongeBob or Mike McCarthy or just a figment of his drug-fueled imagination. I don't really know. But I think that they just want to talk about anything controversial at this point because that's what fuels that show and that's what gets them clicks. I don't think that they care about being hated. I don't think that they care about kicking anybody while they're down. I personally struggle with that at times because I like to pile on about things. That's one of my biggest faults, but it is what it is. And I think that that's what he was doing. I don't think that they felt compelled to say anything because why would they? There was no news that came out. The only reason I think that they would feel compelled to say anything was because McCourty was there.
Well, what about the fact that it's the first NFL broadcast of the year, and they do kind of have a responsibility to talk about the biggest stories of the offseason, and I think Vrabel Rossini was certainly, one of the biggest. If people want them to, keep it to the game, I mean, it's the Hall of Fame game. It's the first game back. I can understand thinking it's a little bit of, dirty play or dirty pool, whatever you want to call it, but they're going to talk about it. Like, it's not going away anytime soon.
No, I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. But the other thing about this for me was I could see that if there was literally nothing else to talk about. Like, there's always so many contracts. There's other things going on. It felt like they just, I don't know, maybe they wanted to pile on about the clicks. But the other thing I will say is that it just was unnecessary to me. I know that might be, whatever. But okay, so for example, this town has had a few scandals. There have been other scandals with reporters. I can think of one specifically with a former NHL reporter a couple of years ago. And did the MLB, the Red Sox, the NHL, those were huge stories. Did anybody address that? Of players and reporters in some sort of halftime rejoiner during the Hall of Fame game. Like, if you're going to do it, I get that this is the game to do it. But the only reason that I can think of is because McCourty was there. That's truly it. Like, when all of those other instances were going on, Skaz, am I wrong that the MLB didn't address anything, the Red Sox didn't address anything, the Carolina Hurricanes didn't address anything, the NHL didn't address anything? Like, this is not the first time this has happened. And I don't think that and the NFL is a much bigger entity, right? Like, Diana Rossini is a lot different than a local beat reporter. I get that. But especially because of the Coach of the Year, I get that aspect of it. Everything is just so like micro managed, especially because it's easy to talk about the Patriots. They were just in the Super Bowl. If they were playing, I would understand, but they weren't. And it just, to me, as someone who is not an apologist for this situation very openly, it felt weird and out of place, and I didn't like it. And that's all I have to say. Can I hear McCourty's answer one more time, Skaz? Is that a possibility? Thank you. Well, he pulls this.
Sure. Well, this is the third time ever we've had a Super Bowl rematch. Remember, back in April, the Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel said he took accountability for his actions after photos emerged of him and longtime NFL reporter Diana Rossini. He left the team for the final day of the draft to be with his family and begin counseling before returning a couple of days later. But now that camp is open, I'm going to ask you, Devin, what's the impact on this team?
I think the thing you got to wonder is it's going to start week one in Seattle. Like you said, that atmosphere, we were up there, Jason, last year. They look for Mike Vrabel. They look to him when things get tough. Do they still feel the same way? His character's been tested. Will this team follow him wherever he goes? That's going to be tested right away, week one.
And I tell you, when games start, winning
that's good. That does sound like he was prepared and rehearsed with like a PG, like PR answer to the situation. Like, he didn't even really answer the question. It was more so just like, they're going to be ready for week one. He's their leader. I don't want to really say anything else. But he also didn't really sound upset about the question. And I think that that's what's confusing me the most. I don't know who to point the finger at, but this just felt icky to me in a situation that I think, once you kind of, who hasn't been canceled online? You know what? Like, once it kind of blows over, you start to get a little comfy. Like, her and her husband have been photographed on a vacation with the kids. He's moving on. He missed the draft. Like, until there's more news, do we need to keep beating a dead horse? Like, I know that I piled on and I made memes and I will continue to make memes, but this just felt like a time to maybe let like their families chill. It's much more national than someone just making a meme online. That's kind of my whole point. All right, let's take a beat. 617-779-0985. When we come back, I want to talk about Jaylen Brown's introductory press conference yesterday. I pulled some receipts on where maybe the the walls started to crack a little bit in hiding where this relationship was maybe going wrong. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. It's Kendra Middleton filling in for Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, the Red Sox are on the field right now against the Oakland A's. It is Peyton Tolley on the mound, no Wilson Contreras this evening, and the A's firing their manager, David Frost, this evening. The Patriots held a scrimmage today. Romeo Doubs back out on the practice field, but no Will Campbell today. Lots of moving parts in today's practice of the offensive line. And Peter Skoronski of the Titans got paid today. Max Crosby and Kirk Cousins got in a fist fight on the practice field. Allegedly, 2 punches were thrown. And, can I get a hell yeah? And Andy Reid says Patrick Mahomes will not be available for the first preseason. Welcome back to the Joe Show. No Joe Murray this evening. Kendra Middleton here with you until 11 o'clock, but doing my best Joe Murray with those headlines, let me tell you. It's the night show. I can't read. I'm trying to watch a game, do 37 things at one time, and sometimes I just can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I told you guys that I wanted to talk about Jaylen Brown's introductory press conference here, but my boy Robin Oxford's been holding on for a minute. He wants to talk about A.J. Brown and Gonzo fighting at camp, which I think we have a different definition of fighting, but what is up, Rob?
Hey, Kendra. First, I just want to thank you for being an unapologetic female sports fan and just being yourself and being an inspiration for any other women that may want to take this career route. But with A.J. Brown, I just saw I was at training camp today with my family, and I'm just wondering, is he going to be the toxic entity that everybody said that he was in Philadelphia here, and is there going to be any problems, or is this just people being around each other too much and just get around each other's nerves when they breathe next to each other?
All right. Thanks for the call, Rob. Appreciate it. And also thank you for the kind words. I do hope that there are some ladies or young ladies or women out there enjoying the show this evening. I think it's a little bit of both, and I think that you knew that when you got into it. A.J. Brown, if I'm not mistaken, in his media availability said that the team needed to have a little bit of a change of scenery and start hitting other people, which we see this happen all the time. You know, the Cincinnati Bengals were the first ones on it this year. If I'm not mistaken, I believe T. Higgins within the first 3 or 4 days of training camp got in a fist fight. We saw Max Crosby and Kirk Cousins getting in a fight today. I do think that just any time that there's a bunch of dudes who are ready to hit other people and full of testosterone, and you get them together and they get them competitive, there is a bit of that. But on Brown himself, I think that when they traded for him, you knew what you were getting, right? Like, he's kind of known league-wide, even, to the average consumer of the NFL, for being a diva. He's a little bit different. He's quirky. I am assuming he's probably an Aquarius for my other fellow not astrology people out there. He's giving Aquarius energy. He thinks he's quirky and different. He's reading a book on the sidelines. Like, that's who he is. But when you have a receiver who's a good receiver, is there ever really a time where they're not a diva? Can any of you give me a top receiver in the NFL who isn't a little bit of a diva? Like, the only one I can ever think of at any time ever was Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. And he's been out of the league for how long now? Yeah.
That's literally the only guy who was one of the best, creme de la creme of the best, who wasn't a diva. He was just a dude. He went out there, had amazing hands, went home. Like, that was just who he is. And that's why everybody freaking loves Larry Fitzgerald, even though he was on some ass football teams, okay? And so you gotta kind of accept that anytime you go with the diva receiver, you're gonna have a little bit of drama, okay? You're gonna have a little bit of fight. And I do think that it's a lot of the competitiveness. I do think it's a lot of testosterone. Personally, I am like the least competitive person ever, which is crazy because I work in sports and I love competition and I love storylines and I love headlines. But I don't care. I don't care. It's a nothing burger for me. It didn't feel like a fight. It just felt like two competitors competing. So, do I think it was a fight? No. Is it something to watch? Yes. Is it entertainment? Yes. Hopefully there is no Max Crosby, Kirk Cousins scenario here. Okay. I wanted to talk about Jaylen Brown's introductory press conference yesterday. I've done a lot of research, done a lot of thinking on this, and well, here we are again. And as you guys know, if you listen to me, I am JB over JT. And I am trying my very, 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 very hardest to remain neutral here. There are not very often times I do that, but I try, especially for the sake of a broadcast, not just firing crap off on Twitter. I do agree that Jason Tatum staying silent is often the best way to handle things, to handle anything in the media. But there is a lot to look at in this press conference. And I was listening to Gasper earlier talking about, okay, well, and I've said this, I believe on this show with you, Skaz, that it was a big red flag and a big issue to me when all of this crap was going on and they were just bashing everybody in the media, that it felt like a good and appropriate time for JT to say something or literally post something or anything. And I think that would have been warranted if he did so, because I can't think of another, big duo that's obviously nobody has the kind of long-term standing with each other that these two do right now, which even makes it more of a reason I think that he should have said something. But the biggest takeaways that I had were, one, Jaylen Brown was happier in the first 30 seconds of that press conference than he ever seemed to be in the city of Boston at all. I think, he said that when he first got the news, he threw his phone. Once he got over that initial shock, man, he probably had to be happy, probably had to be relieved. And I know that there's a lot of people like me who are disappointed, but still cheering for him. Number two, I don't think anybody was surprised to hear that they haven't spoken. I think that they both have made that very clear, very evident without actually coming out and saying so. And I'm glad that there were people there yesterday to ask these important, hard-hitting questions. Kudos to the people who did. And number three, the word respect was repeated over and over and over again. And that is the biggest thing that I took away from this press conference, which I will elaborate on in a second. And number four, Skaz, I know you're a Tatum guy, but I think that this did not make him look good. I don't think that it made Tatum look good at all. I want you guys to think about when you have gone through a breakup or a disagreement with your significant other, specifically a breakup, where you go through the thing where you're constantly mulling over things that you wish you had said, points you could have made, and all of just even when you fight with somebody online, and you're like, oh man, I should have made this point, or I could have said this, or I could have put this person in a body bag this way. Jaylen Brown is in such a unique spot to be able to circle back on these instances and these things and truly be intentional with his words. And the word respect to me is being so deliberately used in this instance. Skaz, can we get the clip about his reiteration of just respect was the biggest thing?
Adam Himmelsbach with Boston Globe. You mentioned on your live stream that there was kind of communication from the Celtics during the process, but then something changed and you felt like there was kind of a lack of respect shown. What bothered you about how this all transpired?
The whole process, but to be honest, my mind is so focused on what's in front of me. To be honest, I'm moving on. Maybe one day you share the details of kind of how everything transpired and all the moving parts that took place in this. Obviously, it's a lot of speculation. I feel no need to chime in on it because I'm focused on what's in front of me.
And just aside from that aspect of it, how do you look back on your time as a Celtic?
I look back at the city of Boston and I'm grateful. I've been able to develop as a man, as a human being there, spend a lot of time in the community, a lot of time at university, studying, learning, figuring out how to approach, how I wanted to go about my philanthropy, figure out how I wanted to approach how to carry myself. A lot of my most important years, my most developmental years as a young man, I spent in Boston. I got there at 19, so I didn't do a 4-year degree because I left early. So I spent time, I got my degree in Boston in a sense. I spent time there. So the relationships are still there. The connection is still there. You know, I'm looking forward to continuing my foundation work and as well as expanding it to here to Philadelphia. But, you know, I'm very grateful for my experience, my tenure in Boston. 10 years is a perfect cycle, perfect number for, you know, completion. So, we won a championship, and I have nothing but respect for the city of Boston. But now it's time to move forward a little bit.
There was also a moment, thank you, Skaz. There was also a moment during the press conference where he kind of mentioned something about, like, he didn't feel like there was respect with how people were moving. And that was kind of the part of the presser that I was speaking on. But I looked up the definition of respect. And if we know JB the way that I think that we do after 9 years, we know that he's thoughtful and intentional and doesn't just say things. I think that he's one of these people. You don't think so?
I mean, sometimes. I think on his Twitch streams, he has a tendency to certainly just say things.
Yes, but we do that too. You know, like when I'm sitting here and I'm just spewing stuff, I just like I need to fill 4 hours, so I'm going to talk. But if I'm doing something important, like a press conference or whatever, I'm intentional about what I'm going to say, right? Because I know that it's going to be just scrutinized in such like a micro way.
You would hope so.
Yes, but the definition of respect, because he clearly had time to think about the fact that this word has just been circled around this entire situation for so long. According to Google, respect it is an action or feeling that shows care, value, and polite treatment towards people, rules, or boundaries. And this station over, the last 2 days has talked a lot about how there have been cracks in this foundation of these two. And I can kind of give you an exact. We've been talking about Drew Hanlon on this station. I don't think anybody said his name. I will. He's Jason Tatum's trainer. And some of the tweets that he was making, some of the stats that he was reposting, I found some of those. And I think that that is one of the other things that makes Tatum look bad. Because let me ask you this. Would you be upset if your coworker's partner was subtweeting you online after you carried your company for the year while they were out on leave? Would you be like, what the heck to that, Skaz?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And yeah, like I'd be pretty upset, right? And so to have Jason Tatum's handler during the April 7th Charlotte Hornets game, which I was at, by the way, and the Celtics won that game 113-102, and I was at this game, and if it was my memory serving me correctly, it wasn't a play style issue that Drew Hanlon was alluding to on Twitter. He posted something, he quote tweeted something and said retweet of a former tweet of his where he said, give Zero the ball and let him cook. And he quote from March 29th, and he quote tweeted it and said retweet. And this is a point in the season where Jason Tatum is not fully healthy, still easing back up into this lineup. And to be honest, Jaylen Brown should be carrying the majority of this weight at that point. And then he goes out and tweets another fist palming emoji on more stats. I was at this game. It had nothing to do with any sort of play style, anything. LaMelo Ball was making shots from half court and could not be stopped. Like, it was just one of those nights where no matter what, like, there's a guy that gets hot, like Peyton Pritchard from time to time. Like, there are nights where Sam Hauser, when he like pops off with threes, like there are nights where it doesn't matter what's going on. Some guys just get hot. Okay. LaMelo Ball had 36 points in this game. And Jason Tatum played 39 minutes. Like, that was the most, I believe, at that point that he had played in his rehabilitation into this team. He still had 23 points. Jaylen Brown played 43 minutes with 35 points. I don't understand the anger. But the thing is that if this is where this is coming from, then the crack is coming from within the house. We know what Jason Tatum is thinking or feeling or upset about from these subtweets. And I don't think that that's, one, very respectful. And two, if that were like my trainer or my partner or whatever, I would be like, one, delete those. Two, pipe down. And three, apparently I need a stronger NDA than I have, because zip it. I'm telling you something in confidence. And it's clear to me that this same conversation that was probably had with his trainer was probably had with the organization. Skaz, as our resident Jason Tatum apologist, I will let you take the floor. Do you have any arguments, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Jason Tatum apologist. He's just better at basketball than Jaylen Brown, and I don't think it's particularly close. I would say Drew Hanlon is also Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid's personal coach, so good luck with that, Jaylen Brown, if that bothered you here. When you talk about respect, I would say the best way to show respect is usually paying somebody. The Boston Celtics made Jaylen Brown the highest paid player, not in Celtics history, but the history of the entire league. I think it probably didn't end well between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But I think it definitely had more to do with Jaylen Brown than it did Jason Tatum. That's my, personal opinion on it. And I believe that because of the way Jaylen Brown handled the end of this season and him being traded.
Yeah, but all right, let's say, take your pick, Toucher, Felger, Zolak, just because they make a lot of money here, does that mean that they deserve to come into work and feel disrespected?
Oh, I don't understand what you mean.
Like Jaylen Brown was shown respect by the organization by getting paid, but do his counterparts have to respect him in the building?
Not if they're better than him.
See, I disagree. Like, just because you're better than me, I'm still a person, and I
don't think Jason Tatum ever did anything openly to disrespect Jaylen Brown.
No, but when your people are talking crap, that's just zip it, and not telling them to delete it, not saying anything. I'm just saying and we haven't heard Jason Tatum's part, right? And we might not ever, unless he gets traded, this relationship goes sour, or somebody hands him a blank check to do a tell-all, when Deuce is 47 years old, right? That's the only way that we're probably ever going to hear his piece. I just think when you're dead silent about a guy that you've won a championship that you've been with for 9 years, your trainer's leaking diss tracks, and you clearly have been involved in trying to maybe shimmy him out the door because he's outshining you, and maybe it's addition by subtraction. But to me, if I were Jaylen Brown, do I think that he's a little bit of we're going to throw the diva word out there once again at times? Absolutely. But just because someone in the building is better than you at your job, Zolak and Bertrand don't exist without Zolak or Bertrand. Toucher and Hardy don't exist without Toucher or Hardy. Felger and Maz don't exist without Felger or Maz. Regardless of who's a one chair and a two chair, they coexist. And I think that we've seen, a partnership at this station fall apart when people can't coexist. And we know the background of that now, So I think that there is more than meets the eye here if you do a little bit of digging. And I don't blame people for whoever side they want to be on. Like I said, I think that whether you like Tatum or Brown more just really has to do with your personality type. But that is what it is. All right, let's hit a quick break. We will be back. I see James on the line wanting to talk more about the Patriots receivers. I want to talk about Patriots training camp, so we will do that when we get back. 617-779-0985 is the phone number. It's Kendra Middleton in for Joe Murray.
You're listening to Joe. Sports Hub headlines.
Your Boston Red Sox currently taking on the A's, who kicked manager David Frost to the curb earlier today, and a clinic being put on by Peyton Tolley at the moment. Currently the bottom of the third, and the Sox are up 5-0. We will have updates for you as this game continues. The Patriots had a scrimmage today. Romeo Doubs back out there, and no Will Campbell today. Lots of moving parts on the offensive line. And elsewhere in the NFL, Peter Skoronski got paid today for the Titans, becoming the highest paid guard in the NFL with a 4-year, $100 million contract. Max Crosby and Kirk Cousins, they got in a fight allegedly today, with 2 punches being thrown at practice. Can I get a hell yeah? Football is back. And Andy Reid saying Patrick Mahomes will not be available for the first preseason game. Sports Hub headlines were brought to you by Super Service Today. Upgrade your home with an electric heat pump system from Super Service Today. Stay cool this summer, warm all winter, and save on energy costs while reducing your carbon footprint. For a free estimate, visit superservicetoday.com. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub, Boston Summer Sports. I'm Kendra Middleton, and your next update is in 30 minutes. And I learned how to talk again for headlines. We got it here on the Joe Show.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, The Sports Hub.
Welcome back to the Joe Show. Kendra Middleton here with you until 11 o'clock. I was talking to Skaz and the Felger and Maz boys earlier about how, if anything, I like to think that I am well liked at this show because the things that I talk about in between breaks, I just hope never see the light of day. All right, I told you guys that we were going to do some Patriots training camp here because we're getting calls on the wide receiver situation. Let's go to James in my favorite state of New Hampshire who wants to talk about the wide receivers. Good evening, James.
Hey, how's it going?
It's you know what? I'm opening on the Sports Hub. It's a Friday night in August. The Red Sox are on. They're good. Football's back. I can't complain. What about you?
It's a beautiful thing. The Sox are hot. I want to talk Pats. So here's what I'm thinking. We know that McDaniels runs a complex offense that revolves around power runs, play action. They brought in Julian Lewis at tight end. They brought in Reggie Gilliam at fullback. Lewis is out. We have Raridan at tight end as a rookie. The wide receiver room is looking crowded. We got 7 great guys. That's a good point. Where is there room for Booty and Chisholm and Williams? I feel like we have so many great young guys with great skills. I want to hold on to them. How do we hold on to these guys?
Okay, funny you say that. Wait, James, your friend in the background is the ultimate hype man. You're sitting here spitting to me, and he goes, great point. What's your friend's name?
I got Steve and I got Jeff here. I got,
Dang, you got a posse.
We got a posse that are rooting for the boys.
Okay.
100%.
All right. Let's say we will play a cut for you from Mike Vrabel today on, did we cut him? Oh no, he hung up the phone. Were his friends too shy? I wanted to hear from the boys. I am disappointed. All right. Well, can we hear that cut from Mike Vrabel, Skaz?
You've said really good things about all the receivers that you have in camp, and you've got 7 of them in that room. Can you envision a scenario where you would break camp keeping all 7 of them?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, all we have to do is figure out the best way to keep guys that are going to help us win and that have roles on this team and that help us win. And that's our job. That's me and Elliot and Ryan and Stretch, and everybody's job is to try to find ways to keep the guys that give us the best chance to win, however that may be.
You sit on a throne of lies, Mike Vrabel. Once again, you sit on a throne of lies. I do not believe that there is a way where a 53-man roster, you are going to find space for 7 guys in a wide receiver room. They got better this offseason, by the way. Like last season, when there wasn't really like a drop-off between a lot of them, like we could have had that argument, I think, more easily. But this year, I just don't see it happening. And to be honest, I get that with the way that this is currently constructed, everybody probably has a favorite. Everybody's probably grown a little bit of an attachment to some of these guys. For me personally, I don't know how long Kayshon Boutte is going to be on this team. I think that this is the most value you might get out of him, to be honest. So he might be on the trade block just because I think that there are other parts of this team that need help. And to be honest, Efton Chisholm would be my first on the chopping block. I have to be honest. I know that there were some promising moments from him during training camp last year. Mac Hollins he's a vibes guy and he plays a role. He's a veteran. He's a leader in the locker room. People like him and he gets clicks for being barefoot and weird. Like they're not going to get rid of him because he provides value outside of what he offers on the field. And I know that there was some conversation about Kyle Williams. It feels like the practices that he's had have been a little hot and cold, but I don't think that they're going to be ready to cut ties with him yet. And I still think that Pop Douglas kind of serves a role on this team. So if I'm getting rid of someone first, it's going to be Chisholm. I don't know if you have different thoughts than I do here, Skaz, but I don't believe Vrabel. I think that they probably cut it down to 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's a chance Chisholm and Pop aren't here. I'm not... I know Booty seems to be the odd man out, but he has such a good relationship with May. He's his deep threat guy. He's been there whenever May needs him. So I'm certainly not looking to move on from Booty, as it seems some Patriots fans are. But yeah, I don't envision a world where there's 7 wide receivers on this roster. If anything, I think you're not doing your job if there's 7 wide receivers on this roster. They're not that good.
No, and that's the thing. 1/8 of this roster cannot be wide receivers. And at the end of the day, if Drake May, and I know that there has been some crazy discourse between Matt McCarthy and Alex Barth on these airwaves of the Drake May, floor and ceiling. And if you want to call in and talk about whatever quarterback rankings, I will take your calls, because this has truly kind of ruled my week watching these two beef, not only in here, but also on Twitter about this. But if Drake May is the quarterback that I think he is, and you think he is, and everybody but Matt McCarthy seems to think he is, then he will elevate receivers that that's the thing. I don't think he needs to elevate Romeo Doubs. I worry more about Romeo Doubs' injury history than him needing to be elevated. I don't worry about AJ Brown. I don't worry about those two. But if he is as good of a quarterback as we know that he is, then he can elevate guys. If somebody gets hurt, he can elevate them. Like, that's what good quarterbacks do. And you don't need an eighth of your roster to be receivers if that's the case. And so that's kind of my take. If you want to keep calling in about that, please do so. I'm happy to continue to have this conversation if you want to make any points. But there were other things going on in training camp today that I want to get to. David Andrews had some comments on Christian Gonzalez and how he's kind of handling these negotiations with the Patriots, saying, I can pull up the quote, I think that I saved it, but he basically went on to say that he's really impressed that Christian Gonzalez, even though he's looking for a payday, is still out there, still participating, still being a team guy. And it seems to he's even going toe-to-toe with AJ Brown at full speed. Like, you're not having two guys compete like that and them not give it their all. Like, those are competitors, those are top of their talent, like, those are the guys that you want doing that. And the fact that Christian Gonzalez is out there doing that says a lot. So here's David Andrews' quote. Oh gosh, Twitter's gonna make me do the don't miss what's happening sign in thing. He goes, look, I never judge someone. Oh my gosh, has anybody else been having the Twitter thing recently where it won't let you log in on desktop? Like, I can't pull up this whole quote because Twitter has not. I wish that Elon never did the thing. Anyways, the part that I can read says, look, I never judge someone for holding out during times like these. It's such a short career and you're trying to maximize it as best as you can. But as a staff, organization, and players, you have to respect the way Gonzo is handling this, out there competing, going about his business. And there's more to this tweet. I just can't see it because Twitter hates me and won't let me log in on my computer. But I totally agree with him. Like, we see this all the time with, players who are unwilling to go out there. And I don't blame them. I really, there is no real way to go about this. Like, you can go out there and risk injury. You can go out there and be a team guy. Those are kind of your two options. And the fact that he is, I think that he's doing this, to be honest, because there has been a lot of scrutiny around his health. And in this league, the best ability is availability. And it's probably to say, hey, I'm healthy, I'm available, I'm out here, I'm competing, and I'm with my team. I'm being a leader. And I think that that's probably the main takeaway that I have from this situation. But good for him. I think that it's amazing that he's out there and he's competing, and he's really making the Patriots kind of tick-tock. So I think that that was a great quote from David Andrews today. I was also listening to Felger and Massey and heard Big Jim say that between the offense and the defense, he is more worried about the defense. And I think that I disagree. We heard Greg Bedard today say that the offensive line is really having some issues. And once again, I think that that is the thing that I am the most worried about, is the offensive line. And rightfully so. Drake May got absolutely battered in the postseason last year, and especially in the Super Bowl. And I don't think that he can survive another full season that way. And if you're, kind of a football nerd, or even just more than a casual, you know that offensive lines click randomly. Either you are just established, you have continuity and you've been together, or if you're a new offensive line, weirdly, there is a time where you just all click together. And maybe that will come once these, they get healthy, these positions are a little bit more established and the season's ready to go, or maybe it's going to take them a couple of weeks. But my concern is that they don't find that rhythm and they start this season off the same way that they ended it. I think that that's more of a concern for me. And another thing from training camp, Tommy DeVito, man, I think that it is way, way, way more valuable than people give credit. Tommy DeVito, if you didn't know, if you haven't listened to this station last, couple of days, today, whatever, has been having a great camp. He's been having an awesome camp. I've been listening to Zolak and Bertrand from camp. I've been reading articles on 985thesportshub.com. Tommy Cutlets, baby, he's having a good camp. And I think that having a good backup in this league is so valuable. Like, we learned that lesson. We talk about it all the time. We learned that lesson last year. I've already hinted that Phillip Rivers playing football last year because people kept getting hurt is insane. The thing that a good backup quarterback can do for you, obviously, if your starter is not out long term, you just need somebody to come in and keep the team afloat, is so important. And the fact that they have that in Tommy DeVito, I think is really important. And I think it's a good thing. And the fact that he's thriving here or seeming to work in this offense, maybe it is that these receivers are elevating him in a way. I think that that's the most ideal situation for the Patriots right now. Romeo Doubs. I heard Barth and McCarthy once again yesterday. McCarthy asked Barth, I know that you can't really talk about these things, but is he hurt? The fact that he was back out there today, I think that's promising, especially with a guy with an injury history. And I know a lot of it's concussions, but that's a good sign. And Will Campbell today, missing some time. Are you concerned about him at all, Skaz?
I mean, this season, not really. I think long term, whatever that may be, I think there's reason to be concerned about. But I think you're in the honeymoon phase still.
Are you? I don't think that there can be a honeymoon phase after statistically the worst Super Bowl performance from his position ever.
Yeah, so I don't want to say I lean McCarthy because I don't want to get, killed on these airwaves, but I do think Drake May stunk for the most part in the playoffs, and I think you're allowed to say that. I still think he has a lot of leeway, though. I think it would take something crazy happening for Drake May not to reset the market when he is up. I think he'll be more poised this year, but I do think the team will take a step back, which seems to be kind of the consensus opinion at this point. But my concern with Drake May, and we haven't really got into it yet, but Mike Sando, we had on the show, it was either Monday or Tuesday, he did the QB rankings for The Athletic. And in that rankings, the biggest disparity between GMs and coaches was Drake May. The GMs seem to love Drake May, and the head coaches seem to, really still be out on him. So as someone who, I'm certainly not an NFL head coach, I think Drake May is an MVP candidate, has all the tools. But I would say him having the biggest discrepancy in that poll, it's not nothing. That certainly means something. Now, whether that's just the GMs like the younger talent and the upside and the cheap contract and coaches would like more of a, known commodity, maybe that's possible. But I do think there is a reason, other than just simply he was injured, that he looked as poor as he did in the playoffs.
Yeah, I do agree with McCarthy about that. Like, there are some guys, I love to harp on Justin Herbert all the time, but there are some guys, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, there are just guys who can't get over the hump of the postseason, right? And hopefully Drake May is not one of those guys, but for right now, with the, evidence that we have, that's an argument that you can make. I firmly am a believer in Drake May and his abilities and his work ethic, and I worry about the offensive line because look at Joe Burrow, right? All the talent in the world, probably when he's healthy and on the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion. You can argue whoever you want. To me, I think that it is Joe Burrow when he is the top of his ability, but we've seen a bad offensive line hinder his entire career, and unfortunately that might be the story that will be written for him. And I get that the schedule is a little bit more difficult for them this season, but the division is still ass, okay? If you can't make it out of this division, you can't afford to regress right now. If you can't make it out of the AFC East in a really tough AFC, supposedly, with quarterbacks coming back healthy this year, I don't know what to tell you. And Buffalo's obviously going to have a new stadium. That's going to be a bit of adjustment for them. Who knows if it's going to continue to be cursed. Maybe Buffalo's cursed. Maybe it was just that stadium. And Josh Allen is awesome. But if you can't make it out of this division, I don't know if I have that much hope for you. So those are my takeaways from training camp. We can talk about anything and everything Patriots that you like. 617-779-0985. When we come back, I want to give you a quick Red Sox minute. Maybe once this game's over, we can hit them once again. But I haven't been on since the Red Sox have been really hot. I've obviously been traveling mostly on Saturdays. So I want to talk a couple of things about the Red Sox, but I have a bone to pick with the incels of the internet. So we'll get into that when we come back. You're listening to Kendra Middleton in for Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
All right, welcome back to the Joe Show. Kendra Middleton here with you until 11 o'clock. I mentioned that I didn't want to start the show with the Red Sox because if you have been listening for this long, which if you have, kudos to you. You are a real one. You are a Sports Hub lover, not just a fan. You've graduated to lover. But the Red Sox deserve some time, and they're fun. They're exciting. The city of Boston is, and there's not even a debate to it, this city is more fun when the Red Sox are hot, when the Red Sox are good, when the Red Sox are winning. I don't know what it does. I don't know what it is, but there's no other team in town where when they're good, it's as electric as the Red Sox. And I don't know if it's because the summer and the vitamin D is making everybody here happy, if it's something to do, if it's because there's so many games. I don't know what it is, but when the Red Sox are good, there is just a buzz about this city that's so different, and people just seem happier. And the kids are getting fed at the 99, so what more could you ask for? But this team, hottest team in baseball, most fun team in baseball. But that being said, I will say, because I know that we might get a call on this or somebody might ask, maybe nobody cares, I like the Rutschman addition. I am in the camp that it's a great addition, but it doesn't add star power, and I don't care how much they gave up for him. I like it. I think it was good, but the star power on this team is lacking, and that's what you need in a postseason. I was talking to Jimmy Stewart and the boys before I came in, and outside of Crochet, I think the average baseball fan across America probably really couldn't name anybody on this Red Sox roster. I'm not talking about the baseball nerds. I'm not talking about the people who consume this, work in this, whatever. I'm talking about the average person who maybe tunes into their favorite team in Sunday Night Baseball. As good as the Red Sox are, they don't have star power. And that's what concerns me. Baseball is a sport where, unlike any other sport where you can argue basketball, if you get hot in basketball at the right time, especially college basketball and March Madness, you can make a run. You can do that. I think one of the best examples of this is the Arizona Diamondbacks team from a couple of years ago. Like, they got hot at the right time and they made a run of it. I am worried that this Red Sox team, one, like I mentioned, doesn't have the star power for a postseason anything as, gettable as the American League seems right now. But also, they're peaking too soon. That's my fear. And you know what? We said, okay, after the All-Star break, if they survive this upcoming gauntlet of games, I'll buy into them. And we did. We've bought into this team. And as we should, because earlier in the year, I was really concerned about the mental health of some Red Sox fans out there. Things were bleak. Things were bad. Like, people online were pretty scary about the Red Sox. The children were starving. Think about the children. But the hard part of me enjoying this is at the same time wanting to maintain realistic expectations about this team. I want October baseball. I want to feel better about it getting cold outside. I want to have things to do. I want to party. I said this when the Patriots were in the Super Bowl. I am a Jaguars fan. We know this. You guys hate me for it. But when the teams here are good, there's money in the market, there's fun to be had, and there's parties. Everybody's happy. I want that. I want to party. I want to have fun. I want to do stuff. I want people to here to be happy and us not to be sad, okay? But we have to maintain realistic expectations about this team, because as much as I think the Yankees are struggling right now and the Rays, the Rays scare me, I got to be honest. They have star power in comparison to you, and other teams in the American League do as well. Whoever you're going to face in a postseason, they're going to have a star power advantage over you, and that's kind of what matters in the postseason in baseball. Sure, we see some of these teams with these type of rosters click late season, go on a run, and maybe the Red Sox will hit a little bit of a lull and peak again. But this is just not sustainable. But we're happy, right? We're happy. We're happy. We're having fun. It's a good... I'm not trying to throw any water on this fire. I'm trying to throw gasoline on it. We should keep having fun. We should keep rallying behind this team. We should keep hoping that this continues. They're up 8-0 in the bottom of the fourth right now. I don't care who it's against. This is fun. I want this to continue, but I also have to be realistic. The other thing that concerns me is that the organization has to love this, because it's taking a boot off of their neck. And does that make you feel good? Because it kind of puts a sour taste in my mouth. I don't want them to be having fun. I want us to have fun, but I don't want them to have fun. They don't deserve it. In a weird way, I feel like they're getting lucky. They are getting lucky. We should not be giving them their flowers for this. This has nothing to do with them. I am in the boat now. I want nothing to do with prospects. I don't care about your prospect ranking. I don't care. I will give you any prospect you want for a grown man who knows how to play baseball and has shown that he can play baseball. Every single person that they have put their eggs in their basket, for the most part, is nowhere to be seen right now, and the team is successful. And that rules, but we're taking the foot off of their necks, and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. And that's why I hate to say it, but I'm kind of hoping the shoe drops a little bit, because they still deserve the fire under their ass. This isn't a long-term solution, and you should want more from this organization. You should. You deserve more. It's a major market. They have the money. That was the only positive thing about the depression that was going on in this city a couple of months ago, is that finally people were angry enough, the pitchforks were out, and there was some real pressure. And John Henry, to a degree, looked kind of miserable. Right? Like when he was like, what are they saying in that clip that was posted of him? And then he laughed. Like I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I want you to be upset that this team sucks. And right now I'm just worried that it's taking a little bit of the steam off of them. Skaz, do you feel that way? Do you feel like it's fun, it's entertaining, it's awesome, the vibes are good, but I don't like that.
You're saying it's almost too unbelievable, that it's unsustainable.
I think that it makes them look like geniuses when in reality it's dumb luck.
I think at first you could say dumb luck. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's hard to deny. It's becoming historic at this point, what they're doing.
It is historic, yeah.
I think the peaking too early thing is certainly possible, but I mean, at some point, is it just who they are? Which is crazy to say, because you look at the roster and you're like, well, Nick Sogard, Andrew Monasterio, like, I don't know. Like, it makes no sense. So I'm with you in that.
But everything that all of the Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, Trevor Story, like, those are the guys you expected to be doing this on this team. And those are the guys that they trusted in and they went all in on. And those guys are nowhere to be found. If anything, this is addition by subtraction.
Yeah, I think it kind of speaks to, the Alex Cora problem that they had, because Trevor Story, even Romy Gonzalez, like all these guys were Alex Cora guys that he probably played too much and defended and refused to send down. Like, I don't think we're seeing, Sogard and Monasterio play this way with Alex Cora. And I think Chad Tracy deserves a ton of credit, because they look like a different baseball team, and they're not playing how they were playing under Alex Cora either. They're more in tune. They're not, they know how many outs there are in an inning, which was something we, weren't too sure of the last couple of years. Like, they just play good, solid, fundamental baseball on a nightly basis, and it doesn't matter who's out there. And I think Alex Cora was a little too focused on who was out there. He would bitch about, management in post games and the roster in post games. And Chad Tracy, I haven't heard him mention the roster one time.
I will say I think Chad Tracy has earned his keep.
Yeah, I don't think he should be the interim manager anymore.
No, I think that he should be the manager of the Boston Red Sox. You are making, what's the saying? Something out of crap. I don't know. I can't think of it right now because I'm
lemons out of lemonade, or lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, he's doing the thing. He deserves. Is that another one? Oh my God, another. Oh my God, no, never mind. I was not paying attention. I thought he was going to catch it. He hit that out. 18th home run of the season. Dang. There goes Toley's no-hitter. Dang.
Now you can take him out.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, take him out.
Get him out of there.
Oh, man, I thought he was going to catch that. I didn't think it was going over. I really didn't think that was going over. Well, it's 9-1 now for the Boston Red Sox. I mentioned before we went to break that I have a beef with the incels of the internet, and it's because of the women's broadcast backlash the other night. The things that were said online about this were horrendous. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I would like to beg the people who have an issue with the woman's broadcast to really look in the mirror, because you're not mad. This broadcast, first of all, wasn't bad. Skaz, did you think this was a bad broadcast? Did you tune into it?
Well, so the problem is we're here, but we play all the highlights and everything, and it sounded like a normal MLB broadcast to me. I think that people want to get mad that they are sitting at home and getting mad at women for being in a room that they were never even considered to be in. And I would like, as someone who loves to fire stuff off online, I'm begging people who are upset about this broadcast. If you didn't like the broadcast, that's fine. That's one thing. But if you're just saying misogynistic things online, you're just mad that they're women, please truly just look in the mirror, because there are little girls out there. Like when I was a kid, there were no women as examples anywhere, to be honest. So the fact that I could see a woman as a little girl on a broadcast would have changed things for me. I go to tons of PWHL games now. I'm a huge Fleet fan. I love their games. I think it's one of the best atmospheres in town. I went to a game this year and saw all of these little girls on the ice and literally said out loud to my friends, I wish that we had this when we were kids. I wish that we could have seen this. And now girls have the PWHL, they have the NWSL, they have the WNBA, they have women on broadcasts. Sure, like I get there are even women that are not my favorite broadcasters out there. But it's one night. If you're really that upset about it, or you really don't like it that much, you don't need to go call people slurs online. You don't need to go do all of these things. You don't need to do that. It's just, if you really hate it that much, turn on the alternate broadcast. I can't tell you how many Patriots games I turn on the TV and I turn Zoe on for. Do that. Turn on the other team's broadcast. Just the absolute, just heinous things that were being said about these women on a broadcast that really, it was fine. It was good. It was fine. The only valid criticism I'm going to give is that I do agree. The only thing I'm going to say, because once again, I'm trying to remain as neutral as possible. Maybe let's not wear a t-shirt on a broadcast that's like, a really special event. I don't know. That's my only piece of critique. And to be honest, I can't say anything. It's hindering my ability to do my job right now. I would lean no, Kendra.
You would lean no.
I would say strongly no.
Okay, then what are we doing here? That's the only realistic piece of just whatever we have here. I'm over it. Shut up. Find something else to complain about. The shtick of hating women is getting old. I know you're on your couch in your mom's basement and you've never touched a woman. You probably have never even talked to a woman. None of these were from actual accounts with faces. And I would like to credit the only other person that I've seen or heard talk about this, Jared Carabas, for speaking up about this and giving these women their flowers. Shout out Jared Carabas. You guys really need to find a new shtick. It's getting old. Okay? That's all I have to say. Let's hit a headline, hit a break. When we come back, we're going to do in or out because we got to move some things around. We've got a guest. We're going to do in or out when we come back. All right? 617-779-0985. That's the number. You're listening to Kendra Middleton in for Joe Murray.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, the Red Sox currently the middle of the fifth. They are up 9-1 against the Oakland A's, who relieved their manager David Frost of his duties earlier today. The Patriots had a scrimmage. Romeo Doubs back out on the field, but no Will Campbell today. Lots of movement. With you until 11 o'clock. If you want to give us a call after in or out, 617-779-0985. I will take your call on anything, because if you are listening to this, you are dedicated to us and not the Boston Red Sox, which is crazy. So you might as well call in. All right, Skaz. Let's do this.
All right, Kendra, a Friday night edition of In or Out, August 7th already somehow. We will start. Let's see. Where do we want to start? Let's start with some college football, as we have Kendra Middleton in studio. Akron football, the Zips, the good old Zips. They're making history this season as they will let one lucky season ticket holder design their opening drive of the season. One lucky fan will be able to script the opening drive in their home opener. Every season ticket seat you purchase gets you in the drawing. The drawing will be held on August 19th. You must collaborate with the head coach, but you get, as they say in this advertisement here, full control of the team's opening drive. Kendra Middleton, are you in or out on a Division I football program letting a fan set the script for their opening drive of the season?
I think that this is the most confused on a take I've ever been, because on the one hand, like, you're Akron football. Like, do you really have aspirations to do anything? Like, why not do something fun and silly? However, throwing in the towel on the first play of the season is an insane move. Like, an insane move. So do I think that this is funny and them, like, kind of being like, yeah, we're Akron football, we suck, like, whatever.
Apparently they've sold the most season tickets they've ever sold.
I am not surprised at all. But to be honest, too, like, whatever this is, the memes are going to feed generations. I want to say I'm out because, like, you know the team and the players, as bro-y and, like, hilarious as this is, are probably like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, we're doing this? Like, you're making... I have worked my entire life to make it to this moment, and you're going to let some scrub with some extra money dictate how my season's gonna start? Are you freaking kidding me? You know what? I'm in. This is hilarious. I hate to say it. Could you imagine literally any power conference, like any power anybody do it? No. No.
Man. What I would love to, like, imagine the Alabama boosters, or like the people that would shell out for this opportunity. Like, this is Akron football. Imagine if you're right, like if an Ohio State or somebody did this.
An SEC somebody. Okay. You want to know what makes this so much worse? You say it's the first play of the season, not their first home game, right?
Let me double check here.
Not the first home game before I say what I'm about to say.
I think it might be their home opener. Score the opening drive in our home opener.
Okay, never mind.
On the road to start the season.
I was going to say, if they're doing that against Wake Forest, that is doubling down on the hilarity. But also, like, what? No, it's going to be, you know what, Robert Morris at Akron. It's probably the only way they're going to get anybody to go to this game, let alone watch it. So, you know what? We know that I love a bit. I unfortunately... I am in. I am in. And it's really the only time that they can do this, because they open against Wake Forest, have Robert Morris at home. Off the top of your dome, Skaz, where is Robert Morris?
That feels like the Midwest somewhere, Ohio or something.
I don't even know. Where's Barth? It is in Pittsburgh, apparently.
Right.
Hello?
Good old Bobby Morris.
You know what? Whatever. And then they play Minnesota on the road, and then home against UNLV. So... you know what? I actually had a friend of mine text me about how they could get people to come to the games. I might send him this article. Yeah.
All right, Kendra, from the world of college football to, I guess, a craze, if that's what you want to call it, Labubu's took over the nation, I guess. I don't know, what was that, a year ago at this point? But a live-action Labubu movie is in the works, and it will focus on the backstory of where the creatures came from, rooted in Nordic mythology. Kendra, are we in or out on a Labubu origin story movie?
Aren't Labubus just like the creatures from... aren't they inspired by Where the Wild Things Are?
That's what I thought.
So don't we already have a Labubu movie? I don't...
Who's to say? This feels like a cash grab of the highest order, but... someone will watch it.
I am out on Labubus already. I don't need this. I have to be honest. We have gone over my list of fears on this show at least twice because they're weird and strange.
Tinned fish, I believe, is on that list.
That's the things I won't eat. There are like 5 things I won't eat. Tinned fish with bones, uni, eel, organs.
Durian? You a durian fan?
I'll eat that. Yeah. Yeah. Those are like really the only things. But my list of fears, Labubus might need to be added. Their teeth are pretty creepy. So I'm really out. I think that this is... there's already a Labubu movie.
Hard out on the Labubu movie. Well, we don't usually revisit topics on In or Out, but when we have an expert on such topics, we have to. And these two feel like something you may have an expertise in. Kendra, hailing from the great state of Florida. This from HBO. It says, Obsession is a dangerous trade. Monsters of God, a new documentary series on the shadowy underworld of exotic reptile smuggling from the creators of Tiger King and Chimp Crazy, premieres this week on HBO Max. Kendra, are you in or out on an HBO documentary series on the shadowy underworld of exotic reptile smuggling?
Yes. I'm so in on this. If you can show me how to legally get a boom slang into the United States, I am so in on this. I need this more than anything ever. I would listen.
Aren't boom slangs like
the most poisonous snake in the entire world?
Venomous?
Yes, but while I was in South Africa, I was looking for them so bad because I think that they're so cute and stupid looking.
They are pretty cute here. I pulled them up.
They're so dumb looking. I love them so much. They are so weird. I honestly would kiss it. I don't care if I'm going to bleed out of every orifice on my body. But yes, this would be awesome. I follow a guy on Instagram who is like
Fishing Garrett?
No, he's my celebrity crush. He's like, I think technically the term is like a herpetologist, but he like has all of these like exotic snakes from around the world because he's like one of the few people who can handle them. And I love watching his unboxing videos of his weird pets. I am so in on this. I will renew my Netflix subscription.
HBO.
Oh, I don't have HBO. I will pay for HBO to figure out how to smuggle a boom slang into the United States. Please. Please, yes.
Well, from snakes and odd creatures, we must head back to Florida for a topic we discussed earlier in the show. But this, from a steakhouse in Hollywood, Florida, the Soiree Lounge, I believe it's called, has started doing nude steak nights. Kendra Middleton, are you in or out on a Florida steakhouse hosting monthly nude dining to attract new customers?
I am so in on this. As long as it's consensual and there are no freaky parts in my food, I am so in on this. I don't care where you fall on the sexuality spectrum. I don't care. Everybody loves boobs, okay? Do you have to be hot? Do you think that there's like a hotness requirement? Is this 2026
is Hollywood,
Hooters?
Florida, is that a bougie area?
Now that you say that, I am almost positive that is where the first Hooters was. I think it was
right.
like a Tampa suburb. I know that it was like Tampa adjacent somewhere, but I think that Hooters maybe started in Hollywood.
The first Hooters was in Clearwater.
Clearwater, okay, yeah, Tampa adjacent. Yeah, it's that part of the state, to be honest, but like there's really not that many ugly people there. So like if you look at the state of Florida, which most of you are snowbirds, you know this state quite well, especially since the Tampa takeover with Tom and you guys. Where I'm like anything south of Ocala is like hot people and heaven's waiting room. Whereas I am from like Floribama, but like the Georgia equivalent. Like that's where all the like stereotypes of the South and the people and the gremlins that live there exist. So yeah, I feel like there's definitely going to be a hotness requirement to work there. There's not going to be no uggos in there. If I could have dinner and breasts exposed, yes.
I mean, just go to Magic City at this point, no? I mean,
I'm a Magic City truther, but like from the great state of Florida, and I can, go in broad daylight, and people aren't going to look at me funny. I'm sure it's going to exist mostly at night. Yes,
they say you arrive clothed, the wait staff is clothed, you undress at the establishment.
You undress.
Well, they don't undress you.
So I thought the staff was naked, not me.
No, you're naked.
No, I don't want to be naked.
Kendra, this is the whole thing. The staff is completely clothed. The patrons of the restaurant, the people coming to eat, the customers are completely naked.
No, I'm out on that.
Oh,
I thought that I was getting served food from a naked lady.
Kendra, I hate to break it to you. You were the naked lady in this situation.
I don't want to be naked.
Kendra Middleton out on eating steak naked in public.
Yes. If you don't have a naked neighbor, you are the naked neighbor, and I don't have a naked neighbor. However, no, that's where there are going to be uggos in that sense, because they're just going to let anybody with a credit card in there. Money's green. No, I don't want it. No, that feels pervy. No.
What a 180.
Imagine all the old people who are like waiting to die in Florida who just want to be creepy and no.
Yeah, do they have like an early bird special at the new
Eat some
dining?
meat with their meat out. I'm all set. Nope. Out.
We did get some good Joe Murray sound bites from this discussion. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, here's a quick Joe Murray when you mentioned the meat out with your meat. Here's Joe Murray during our discussion.
And I know that there's some people listening like, I don't care. I'll pull it out or whatever.
Excuse me.
I dump it out. While I'm eating my meat, I don't want to see my own meat, and I don't want to see yours either. I don't want to eat your meat.
Is that you?
That's Derek, intern Derek.
I was like,
I wish I could get that high, but no, that is.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you. I thought that the servers were going to be naked. I would have been so in on that. Like,
oh, maybe we have an idea on our hands.
Dinner
then.
and a show.
I think I'd be much more apt to go to that dinner than to this one.
Like, if I could, it's like having a topless maid, but with a steak.
Yeah, in on that.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right. Before we get a call from Louth.
All right.
We
can move
can't
on.
talk.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's see. Kendra, were you a fan of Glee?
What is that?
Well, apparently it was a musical TV show. Ryan Murphy revealed he was considering...
me cultured? Absolutely not. Who am I, Matt McCarthy?
Rebooting Glee. Are you in or out?
On my list of fears, one of them is men who sing. Singing and musicals make me so uncomfortable. I won't go watch plays. I don't do shows. If a man whipped out a guitar to sing to me and serenade, I think that I would cry and throw up. I gotta be honest.
I want that to happen so bad now.
It did happen once.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Wait, you haven't heard the song that the guy wrote for me?
Yes,
that we
actually
played on the station?
Yeah, no. Now that you mention this, I think I may have played it on the station.
I hope we can if we can find that, we need to use that as a rejoiner. And I feel really bad for people who are going to come back, but no, I hate it. No, thank you. I am even on TV. I can't do it. Like when I was flying back from Denmark last year, tried to watch Wicked because it was all the rage. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody loved it. And I was like, all right, I feel like I'm missing out on the memes and the pop culture and like being in the know. I lasted 15 minutes before my skin was crawling and I felt like I was on fire and needed to jump out of the plane.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last musical I watched. I mean, if A Muppet's Christmas Carol counts, I watch that every year, but I'm not really the biggest musical guy either.
No, something about singing, it's just too intimate. It makes me uncomfortable. And that maybe it's because my best friend, like of 20 years that was just up visiting me this week, was an opera singer as a kid. Like, was one of very few people in the country that could hit some decibel, like got a full ride for it. Now she's a lawyer, but... Like, maybe it's because I had to go to all her musicals as a kid that I'm just, like, scarred. I don't know. She was in, like, musical theater, and I hated it. But I'm getting my revenge on her because I'm dragging her to the Patriots-Jaguars game.
Oh, there you go. That's the most Middleton revenge I've ever heard.
Thank you.
All right, Kendra, we will end with this one tonight. A little college sports to wrap up in or out. LSU basketball currently only has 4 players listed on its roster 2 weeks before classes start. Kendra Middleton, are you in or out on LSU basketball having a season this year with only 4 players on their active roster?
What happens in this scenario? Like, is there a protocol? Like, you can't even, I don't want to say, it's not field the team. You can't, like, what is you can't.
Open tryouts or something? Like, I don't know. How do you not have, like, scholarships to give out or NIL money or something? You're LSU.
How does nobody want to go to LSU? That's my thing. Like, it seems like it's the hot school at the moment. Like, it used to be Alabama, and now it feels like it's LSU.
He spent all that money on Lane, I guess.
Maybe Lane, with his crazy, comments, deterred some people who would want to play basketball there. And so did Mulkey.
Wow, her outfits are...
her outfits are iconic. All right, if you are a family member of Kim Mulkey...
God bless you.
Yes. And you eventually, years and years from now...
Oh, what an estate sale that would be.
...are going to have an estate sale for her. Hit me up. I'll give you my phone number. I will be there immediately.
Is that your 1-1 estate sale you'd like to attend? What a conversation.
That's a great question. I feel like Dolly Parton would be up there and Pamela Anderson as well. But yeah, it depends. It depends how old I am when that bucket is kicked. Because if I'm in like my, I'm not going to say the word that I want to say, but like if I'm in my, suit era because I'm like a grown lady, hit me up. I'll pay twice what you want. Hit me up. I'll be there. That's the only nice thing I have to say about Kim Mulkey. She slays. She slays.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap up a Friday night edition of In or Out.
Is it?
Unless you got something.
No. I don't even know what we're gonna do when we come back. I feel like we have a guest at 9:40, which puts us in an awkward position. So I feel like maybe we just knock the bits out of the way. We do musings when we come back. We could use to muse. If you want to give
Absolutely.
if you want to give us a call, 617-779-0985 is the phone number. You can call us on anything you like. Let's hit a commercial break, get a headline. It's Kendra Middleton in for Joe Murray.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Today, Romeo Dobbs was back out on the practice field, but no Will Campbell today. There were lots of moving parts on that offensive line. And elsewhere in the NFL, Peter Skoronski got a bag today for the Tennessee Titans, becoming the highest paid guard in the NFL with a 4-year, $100 million contract. Elsewhere in the NFL, I'm waiting for a video of Max Crosby and Kirk Cousins. Yes, you heard me correctly. Max Crosby and Kirk Cousins allegedly throwing 2 punches at each other at practice today. And Andy Reid says Patrick Mahomes will not be available for their first preseason game. Sports Up Headlines were brought to you by Boston Prolo Therapy. Don't let joint pain keep you off the court, course, or trail. Eliminate that pain with Dr. Franke of Boston Prolo Therapy. You're listening to 95 The Sports Hub, Boston Over Sports. I'm Kendra Middleton, and your next update is in about 30 minutes or so.
Diving effort. He's got a breakaway. Goes to the backhand. Throws it in front. Coming to the spot. The Sports Hub.
In the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a
I know that this is not our normal time to muse, but my friend Tanya Ray Fox is going to join us at 9:40. So we are moving the musings here. I am in a really good place. Like, how could I be upset? I've been on vacation for most of the summer. I've been enjoying myself. It's been the summer. Screw the summer of Maz. It's been the summer of Kendra. But I do have some things to muse about. I actually have quite a few things to muse about. Number one, I'm going to apologize off the rip right here to Anthony Bourdain and the gays. I got food poisoning at the Lobster Pot in Provincetown, and I hate it forever. I go ahead, Cass.
Are you going to blame Anthony Bourdain?
I mean, he loves that place. I went there because he loves it. If that was not his, if his name was not attached, I would not have gone there, and I don't think a lot of other people would either. And I know that it was the Lobster Pot because I went with one of my friends and my lifelong best friend, and the only thing that we did not share the entire weekend, we each got different soups to start with at the Lobster Pot. Doug got clam chowder. Kristen and I got the Portuguese stew. And Kristen and I were so sick, and Doug was fine. And I was throwing up so much that I was literally so dehydrated, I was having kidney pain. I was like, do I need to, either go to an urgent care right now or pay $300 for an IV? Maybe, because my kidneys are killing me. But I did learn through this journey that soup is one of the most common things to get food poisoning from because of how many times and how it's reheated. And sometimes it isn't boiled or reheated properly. So I threw up for so long.
Are you out on soup now?
I'm out on seafood. There are certain things that I won't eat before a night out or a wedding or when I know I'm going to be drinking just in case. And I wasn't going to be drinking this evening, really. I had one drink with dinner. But I think that I'm out on seafood for a while. Because, there are, like I said, there are things I'll taste a second time. Through this journey, TMI, through this journey, I was drinking water, yellow Gatorade, and Diet Coke. And I had a hierarchy of those things that I would like to puke. Okay? Diet Coke being number one. It was at least a little sweet the second time. Gatorade number 2, because there was a little flavor. Water, no, because it just tasted like seafood. Okay? It did not drown that out. Like, I would rather throw up, like, steak or fruit, anything but, like, 2-day-old lobster with bile attached. Like, no. Like, literally, head in the toilet bowl with just 2-day-old lobster is really not a vibe that I ever want to experience again. And like I said, I am a very adventurous eater. I will try anything twice. I'm off of seafood for a minute. I am scarred, okay? And I love seafood, and I live in a seafood capital. Are you laughing back there?
I'm just, I feel bad that this hurt you so deeply.
Yeah, I hate the lobster pot, and I really don't want the gays and Anthony Bourdain to be mad at me for that, okay?
Are you still going to go see Tony when it comes out?
Yes, I am in a very Anthony Bourdain era of my life. Like,
that's very true. You're traveling, you're eating.
I'm not just traveling. I'm traveling weird places, and I'm eating weird things. Like, the number of weird species of antelope and zebra that I ate this summer, crazy. I would rather throw that up a second time. I would rather throw up zebra thigh 3 times over than what I experienced the other day. Like, thank God that the girl that I was sick with, we've been best friends for 20 years. Because if we were just, like, casual friends, or that would have been... I have a picture of me that I will put out on Twitter, because I love you guys, of me with the handle of a shopping bag around my neck, open, and me driving home so that I could just throw up while driving. I'm not even kidding. And I'm just crying. Like, there are tears, like, streaming down my face. I took a Zofran. If you know, like, if you have, like, motion sickness problems, you know Zofran and you know her well. Like, Zofran, like, there's some, like, seasickness meds, and then there's Zofran, baby. And if you know a ball, you know Zofran. I took a Zofran, and it was like I took nothing. That's how sick I was. And I think, was it this show that had the debate? And I'm so sorry if you are squeamish and not an open person, because my grandmother is about to roll over in her grave, because I should never talk about these things because she's a true Southern woman. Was it this show where you had the debate of, would you rather throw up for 24 hours straight or be on the toilet for 24 hours straight?
That sounds like it may have been a this or that on the midday.
Okay. What would you choose? Because after this, we were both so thankful that it was just puke. But even after this experience, I'm still going to say puke, because I was so happy that I could just spoon a bucket in my bed for 2.5 days.
I would say, puke certainly. I think I lean that way initially, but being able to sit down is, if it's going to be for 24 hours, I feel like the strain on puking for that duration of time is worse than the strain of, the sitting down on the toilet.
But then your legs are going to fall asleep. You're going to get varicose veins. You can't go anywhere. Your butt gets raw. Like, this, if you want to call in about this, please let me know which one you would prefer. Like, at least I could have my footy pajamas on and take my little bucket with me everywhere. Like, get some ice cubes for my forehead.
I'm thinking of, like, the I threw up meme.
I
like, you're
float
just
up.
standing in the doorway. Yeah, that's
me telling my mom I float up. That was me and her. We couldn't even talk. We were literally sitting next to each other in bed and texting. I'm not even kidding.
That's about as down bad
That
as
is,
you can be.
I DoorDashed Diet Coke. That is so beyond down bad. I live above a grocery store, Skaz.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do, Kendra. That's, the beauty of 2026 is you can do that.
We were begging the DoorDash driver not to leave it in the lobby. We were like, we will tip you whatever you want to bring it to the door. And whatever you want. Name your price.
Did he bring it to the door?
Yes.
It's a good man.
He had to know, right? Like, we're ordering ginger ale, orange juice, sugar-free Gatorade, and Diet Coke with a thermometer.
Yeah, that's either a very sick child or someone battling a hangover.
Like, what else is going on here? Like, there's absolutely... The thermometer really gives it away. Like, there are bad things happening here. Okay. I have 2 more things that I would like to muse about. One of them is related to this. And that is... I don't think boys deal with this because you don't have as many knickknacks. But unpacking after a trip sucks. Like, the laundry bit of it, yes. But when you're a girl... My kitchen counter looks like a war zone right now. I have boob tape, nipple covers, jewelry, random socks, earrings, like just crap everywhere that is so small and needs to be put in such specific places. Like, boys, you guys just wash your dirty underwear and like put your shoes away and call it a day. The things that girls need to put away, like I carry like a mobile pharmacy with me when I travel. Boys don't think about that crap. I have a sewing kit on my person. Like Tide pens, you name it. Like, I am the friend where if you look at me and you think that there is no way I have whatever you need in my bag, I promise I do. I am that friend, okay? And so the amount of random crap that I have to put away after a trip, awful. On top of the laundry and just being back to reality, awful. The other thing I want to complain about is my neighbor. And he might be listening to this. And if you are, please leave me alone. Please. Please. He has made 2 different Instagram accounts now. Literally, he moved into the building, saw me in the hallway, went to the mailroom, got my name off of my mail, found me on Instagram, made up a fake scenario about how maybe we had met before. I called him on his bluff. He kept messaging me, sent me shirtless photos of himself. I've asked him to leave me alone 37 times. The front office has asked him to leave me alone. And their legal team has sent him a cease and desist. And he is still messaging me. Still. He will not stop. I can't think of anything else that would give me more of the ick. He will not say anything to me in person. Only via Instagram. Has made another Instagram to message me. Like, sir, if I see you in the hallway, I will ask you to leave me alone once again. However you might be listening to this, please just stop.
Oh, I don't know. Take the hint.
I literally have said multiple times, please respect my boundaries and leave me alone. And he's still finding ways to DM me about how, like, we might have so much in common and he should make... No. I don't want you to make me dinner. I want you to not even look at me. I don't want you to acknowledge me. Had he just from, like, the rip and, like, yo, you know what? I think you're cute. We should hang out. I still would have said no. But I would have respected you and it wouldn't be awkward. Now we see each other every day and I'm scared for my life. Well, I don't even... What would you do, Skaz?
I think I'd have to get the police involved, Kendra. I don't know. That feels like a logical next step for someone in your situation.
I have, but there is nothing they can do because you need 3 instances of someone being in your person without a reason to be to get a restraining order. And since he lives there, he has a reason to be in my person. And since he hasn't committed a crime, they can't evict him. And a restraining order still isn't a crime. So they couldn't evict him. It would just prevent him from speaking to me or being in the common areas as me at the same time. And if I do that, he might get more mad and more violent. So if you are my neighbor, you know who you are. Go away. Or I will say your government name on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I think that's perfectly fair. I think that's a good threat.
I'll have my internet people dox you. I don't know.
We got Joe Murray and Bird. That's a pretty good tandem crew right there for some backup.
They know people. And he's from the town that I live in. He's a local, and he's the same age as them. You know what? I bet, weirdly, you're right. Joe Murray or Bird probably know him.
I would go to those two, man.
If you take anything away from tonight's musings, no means no. Don't be a creep. Don't be a weird neighbor. Don't be that guy. And you know what? Bring back asking people out in person. That's the real takeaway here. Nut up or shut up. Skaz, you got anything to muse about?
Well, Kendra, you did mention your kidneys were feeling it a little bit over this time. And that brought my attention to a story that I saw today that I just think we wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't mention this story. So I take you to Staten Island, Kendra, and I'll let you hear this. This John Gotti's grandson. We're familiar with John Gotti, the legendary or infamous gangster. Still in the news, his grandson today, and I'll play the audio here.
Well, late mob boss John Gotti's grandson can delay his prison sentencing, but only if he donates his kidney to his mother by this Monday. A federal judge told Carmine Agnello if the procedure occurs on or before August 10th, he does not have to report to prison until September 18th. But if the procedure doesn't happen by 2 p.m. on Monday, he is required to turn himself in. Agnello was scheduled to donate his kidney this past Monday, but the surgery was called off when his mother developed an infection. He pled guilty to stealing more than $1 million in COVID relief funds.
So, Kendra, I have to ask you. If you were facing, some jail time for the embezzlement of funds, would you be willing to donate your kidney to your mother to, lessen the charges, I guess?
I wonder what the charges are.
Why does he have to give his kidney to his mom? I mean, good for him, I guess, or his mother if she desperately needs it, but what a twist.
My question is, why is there a debate about giving a kidney to your mom?
And the timetable is also, in question here.
Yeah, that's also crazy. Like, she gave you that kidney, so I guess you could, give it back to her in a way. Like, she grew that. That's
her kidney.
That is her kidney. She is the rightful owner, okay?
She gets at least one of them, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd give my mom a kidney. No question. Would you give your mom a kidney?
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
Why
Especially
is this?
if it gets me out of some jail time.
Yeah, then I look like a hero. And, I gotta be honest. All right, back to the whole weirdly guys I would date thing. I would much rather be with a guy who commits white collar crime than post thirst traps on the internet. White collar crime's kind of hot.
He's probably, stealing $1 million for the family business, He was thought he was doing good.
Yeah, he was gonna buy his mom a kidney. Chicks dig scars, I gotta say. Prison, maybe not. Okay, wait, no, here's my final answer. If I'm still gonna serve jail time, if I give my mom a kidney, no, because having a new scar in prison would probably mean people would exploit that, and that if in a male prison, that's not a place you want to be dealing with any rear anything issue-wise. So if I'm gonna go to jail anyway, probably not. I'm gonna need that kidney in jail. I'm gonna need it, But
could be a valuable asset.
Yeah. How do you think you do in jail?
Oh, terrible. I'm a neurotic, bored guy. I would lose my mind in jail.
I think I'd be really good at jail. Only because, one, knock on wood, I don't think I'd go to jail for something stupid. I would go to jail for something that would put me in solitary confinement.
Something very well thought out.
And I would be, if that's not the case, I would do something insane enough to be put in solitary confinement. And I'm from Florida. I can kind of fight. And I'm a biter. I think I'd be maybe I'm overestimating this. I think that Massachusetts jail is definitely a lot different than Jacksonville jail.
I would have to think there's some differences there in
for sure.
Yeah, the clientele for sure.
Yeah, I think I'd be middle of the ground. I would go to jail for something that would put me in solitary confinement. I think I'd be okay. All right. We mused. We'll do a short segment on something here. Actually, you know what? We can keep being weird. I kind of want to talk about the electromagnetic fields in San Francisco. We can do that when we come back. 617-779-0985. You're listening to Kendra Middleton in for Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
All right, welcome back to the Joe Show. Kendra Middleton here with you until 11 o'clock. We're going to have a quick segment here because my sweet friend Tanya Ray Fox is going to be calling in to talk to us about the Patriots. But Jake in Boston is on the line and he wants to talk about Bill Belichick. Good evening, Jake.
Hi, Kendra. I've got 3 things for you. You ready for me?
All right, let's do it.
All right. We know Jordan Hudson has been very well behaved over the last 9 months or so, but Mikey Lombardi was put on leave for yelling and being mean to a male staffer. And now Burt Breer was on with your buddy Fred this morning, and he said that the Steve Belichick medical leave was basically, quote unquote, based on things that had happened in the past. Now, we know Steve was arrested in 2006 for possession. before Daddy saved his entire life by giving him a job and basically, turning him into Nepo Baby Central. So when you throw in the fact that he was in Florida with David Andrews and Nantucket just a few weeks ago, and in Nantucket with their clique there, where Jen Belichick avoided the arrest warrant, I wouldn't mind getting the FOIAs ready, because I don't think this is a real medical thing. I think it was a thing to hide what would be a fireable offense at the University of North Carolina, which would be a relapse. So that's number one.
Wait. Let me comment on this. Let's do this one by one. We can have some banter. What if I am going to the UNC TCU game in Dublin, by the way, so I can scout?
That's awesome. Good for you.
However, what if this issue from the past is him actually sticking up for his mom and walking out on Bill's team because of the rift with the parents and Jordan?
So in 2020, Steve and Jen had, I believe it was their second child. That child spent like 5 weeks in the ICU. This was when Bill was looking homeless in press conferences. Listen, if they were able to keep that under wraps, I'm surprised that this got out. And I think it got out because it was this or he was going to be fired. So Jen's a narcissist to the top degree. She hasn't said anything. I'm guessing until someone proves me otherwise. And listen, if it was something really serious, if he was diagnosed with cancer, Jen would be the first one, talking about how brave her husband is. This is a bad thing. He did something bad. He didn't do this isn't a health thing. He did something bad. He needs to go to rehab like a celebrity. And they're trying to use this as a masquerade, because if they admit to something bad at a public university where you could be FOIA'd, he's out. And that entire athletic department wants blood right now, Kendra.
Okay, you're our voice of gossip here. What do you got, number 2?
So the last one is, you are our resident female co-host here until Aurora and Riley step up into their respective roles after their internships. The WNBA is popping off right now culturally. We have the Connecticut Sun in here in 2 weeks. Final game they're going to play in Boston. They're 13 games out right now. What are we going to do here next? First of all, the governor's been begging for a team, so someone's got to get on the governor to actually bid for her own team instead of try and steal someone else's team. But what do you think of all the hoopla going on in the W right now with Sophie and Caitlin and Mean Girlin? Because it's more entertaining. I like that more than I like the Jays subtweeting each other and subtly trying to get under each other's nerves. Like that's no fun. Give me Sophie and give me everything going on with the girls beating each other up right now.
Would I be correct in assuming that you live for the girls beefing?
Oh, I thought Enos Cantor's announcement today was utterly hilarious. I live for that. It's great. Listen, we don't have baseball next year because of a lockout. I want to see Felger and Mavs dive into WNBA culture, because it would be fascinating and there's a lot to talk about. And it's very entertaining at the end of the day.
Oh, I do think it's so entertaining. It's the level of entertainment that the NBA used to be. But I don't know if it's entertaining in a good way or entertaining in a brain rot way.
It's brain rot. It's like Vanderpump. It's like a good reality show, like Stassi Schroeder's new reality show. It is they kind of get that it is a reality show. Meanwhile, I hear Tatum and Jaylen Brown, talking behind each other's backs, like high school locker room, like gossip talk. And they'll just take shots at each other in the W. Like it's like a complete gender 180 for how things used to be. It's a fascinating study in just dynamics right now.
It's true. All right, what do you got for me, number 3?
Oh, number 3, I was going to say, what's it like having Aurora and Riley step up big time at the station? Because they have actually done a really good job, and I think that you have a lot of interns come in there who want to be the host and think I can do play-by-play at my local college. And I think what those two have done is they've stepped up and they've realized, they have an audience that they've built socially in terms of content. So what is it like having two sidekicks to keep on trucking?
All right, cool. What a PG call from Jake in Boston. I will, you know what? I don't often stand on my Jake in Boston soapbox, but I'll give it to him. That was a PG call for Jake, especially on a Friday night after 9 p.m.
Ish.
We'll give him ish.
I'd still rather have a root canal or a colonoscopy than listen to him call back in, but that's just me personally. I don't need to speculate on Steve Belichick's health.
Yeah, I kind of want to, because I'm going to the game. So it's like, I don't know. Do we think that she's going to wear the snake pantsuit again? I will say, not a Jordan truther. I respect the hell out of her because she's a smart cookie. You can say whatever you want about her, but she knows how to weasel. However, that outfit, whoever made it, I want it. I want that outfit. We made fun of her for her high heels and snakeskin, whatever. That I would do that. I hate to say it. I'm a real sports gal. I would wear that on the sidelines. Next question. Riley and Aurora. I have not spent any time around Aurora. I do follow her online. She seems active, grinding. Reminds me of me when I was that age, going to the gym at whatever hour. When I was Aurora and Riley's age, I was interning part-time at ESPN, working full-time at a bar, going to school full-time, and I had a puppy. And watching these girls grind and kind of, no offense, I outshine the boys here this year. Good for them. I love to see it. I'm cheering for them. Riley, I have more experience with Riley just because she was on the Joe show. She was on the night show. When I was filling in this summer, I was around her, but I follow them both online. They've both been a delight. And you know what? I have been begging management and everybody here. I think the few times I've been on the off-air show, I've been begging Felger for years to start doing content, making content, and the fact that these two, young girls were the ones to finally break the barrier and get people to do content here. Cool, fine, I'm all for it. I have been trucking for that for so long, and everybody just beat me up, tore me down, said it was stupid, it was for the kids. Well, what do you think about that now, Are we on the content grind here at 98.5 The Sports Hub? I think so.
I think it's mandated at this point. It's part of the agenda. And yeah, I mean, Riley and Aurora have been not just huge additions to the shows they're on, but huge additions to the station as a whole, going to training camp and taking pictures and getting all kinds of social media content. So yeah, we're lucky to have young, ambitious people still coming into this business.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. I think some of these stars of the intern program over the last couple of years, and I'm really happy to have them. It's been nice to see. We've had Katie and other interns in the past, but it's nice to see other girls around here. Even though I had to scan Riley into the women's bathroom, it's good. It's encouraging. And I went into earlier, when I just said so many times, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I catch myself saying things. I'm like, why did I just do that? But it's nice that there are girls who are going to give other girls someone to look up to. Whenever I'm having a bad day in this industry, I just think about the fact that I'm maybe making it easier for the next Riley or Aurora or whoever's going to come after them. There is a space here because of the women who came before me, and I hope to do that for them. And I'm sorry if you're a guy out there and you're rolling your eyes, but you have a mom, you have a daughter, you have a sister, everybody has a woman in their life, okay? And if you're a decent person, you want them to do what they want to do. And if that's talk sports, that's what they should do. Speaking of women in sports, my sweet friend Tanya is going to join us to talk all thing Patriots when we get back from this break. 617-779-0985. We're going to did we hit a headline already? I don't even know. I have no idea. I'm losing track of time. We're going to do stuff. We'll be back for Tanya.
Sports Hub headlines.
Okay, we didn't hit a headline. I'm losing track of time. We're just yapping. Jake's calling. We're musing at the wrong time. Headlines. It is.
We call them the Joe Murray pre-party. It's Felger and Maz afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the...
Told you guys a few times tonight that we were going to have my sweet friend Tanya Ray Fox join us to talk about the Patriots. Tanya, hello.
Hello. Am I coming through clearly?
Yeah, you sound good.
Amazing. Okay, great. How are you, Kendra?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I am great. I did a whole podcast where we drink during the podcast.
Oh, perfect. So the perfect Friday night phone call for you right now. What was your drink of choice tonight?
Well, it's so funny because normally we keep it classy with a Sauvignon Blanc, but we were running out of options in the studio. So I had Malibu rum for the first time in approximately 25 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have Pedialyte at home?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I fear we're too old for that amount of sugar. But I will say there was a guy a couple weeks ago when I was hosting this show who called in and went on the most insane tangent I've ever heard. And at the end of the call, I was like, okay, my friend, what were you drinking tonight? And he just goes, Drew Bledsoe wine, all gone. So maybe you should mix a Drew Bledsoe wine in.
You know what? I've never had Drew Bledsoe's wine, and my mom was like, "We have to get Drew's wine. Like, we have to try it." And you just reminded me of that. And you know what? That should be, listen. If Drew if he wants to sponsor my podcast, I'd be happy to drink it.
Yeah, you could have Drew Bledsoe wine every Friday night. What a perfect situation. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, this is your first time on the Sports Hub, right?
It's my first time in a long time.
Okay, perfect. So the people probably aren't as familiar with you and your takes. If you don't follow her, you should. She's Tanya Ray Fox. I think pretty much everywhere on socials, if I'm not mistaken.
Everywhere on socials. It's a classic. Tanya Ray Fox, everywhere you can find me.
Perfect. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with your work, can you give us just a quick TLDR of what you thought of the Patriots last year, what you thought of their postseason in the Super Bowl, your thoughts on Drake May, and the addition of A.J. Brown before we get into this year and the expectations?
Of course I can. I'm so glad you asked, Kendra. So the Patriots, I had a pretty high expectation last year. I wasn't one of those people who didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I thought they were going to make the playoffs. But let's be 100% honest. Anybody who says they thought that they were going to go on a run to the Super Bowl is lying. My big takeaway from the season last year was that I thought Drake May, the drop-off from regular season to postseason was pretty significant. And because I cover the NFL nationally, right, I'm not just in the local market, I was paying attention and covering every single game and every single, one of these quarterbacks throughout the whole season. And I thought that Drake was, on the level of like CJ Stroud in levels of disappointment. And that's not because I don't think that he is capable of being on the level of the quarterbacks he's sort of being put with in like the tier 2 group with, the Caleb Williams of the world and all that. But the sparks of brilliance that I saw from other quarterbacks in the postseason in more difficult circumstances made me question kind of what the issue was with Drake specifically, considering the team around him, right? So someone like Bryce Young, who had one playoff opportunity to show what he had to do, had one of the more incredible playoff debuts I can remember against the Los Angeles Rams. They lost the game, but he kept them in a game that they should not have been in. The brilliance from Caleb Williams, who got a lot of slack early on, the kind of slack that I think Drake May avoided by having people like Josh McDaniels coaching him, Mike Vrabel, and he showed flashes of brilliance. And I think that for Drake to go from an MVP level player to in the regular season with all the advanced metrics to what we saw in the playoffs, and then to, it was not just on him what happened in the Super Bowl. It was not just on him that they never really were in that game, but he certainly was not ready to go. And for a season, for a fandom full of people who remember what Tom Brady looked like in year 2, tough break, tough look, right? And as we're heading into this season, Kendra, I actually kind of love that A.J. Brown is on this team, because I think a chaotic wide receiver who's going to bring a ton of talent and also a bunch of drama is exactly the kind of stuff that
we can dump you. It's okay. It's after 9:00. You're good. Stream wins.
That exactly kind of stuff that someone like Drake May needs to experience. And A.J. Brown is as talented to me as someone like Stephon Diggs. He's a different type of wide receiver. But unlike Stephon, it seems like he's already started a little bit more drama than we would like to see. And I'm actually okay with that, to be quite honest.
Yeah, totally. We were actually having that conversation earlier. Like, any wide receiver who is worth a crap in this league comes with a certain diva mentality, and you know that going into it. The only star receiver in the entirety of the NFL that I can think of who wasn't that way is Larry Fitzgerald, and he's 1 in a million, and we'll never see another one of him. We never have. So I'm also okay with that, because it was expected heading into the talks of getting him on this team. I want to go back to something you said about Drake May's playoff performance. You compared him to the disappointment of CJ C.J. Stroud. Do you think that this was maybe a one-off? How much of his struggles do you put on the offensive line and his receivers? Do you think that we'll see him kind of be maybe like a Justin Herbert or a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen type? What are your expectations from him in his potential future postseasons?
For Drake May?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I would say probably a Josh Allen is the best comp, which is that we're going to see really good playoff performances and really tough playoff performances over the next couple of years. I don't think that he has shown the consistency week to week of I can carry the offense myself. I can lock in mentally when things aren't going perfectly right. Now, we have seen Drake make incredible plays. The thing that made me believe in Drake was that he could do some of those things with his his physical talent that we were not seeing for years with somebody like Mac Jones, right? And that was the thing that made me like, oh my God, okay, we've got a guy who can pull a play out of his butt because he is just that talented. And that makes me always feel good. The pure talent and the ability he doesn't get nearly as shaken in the pocket. He's much more steady back there. But at the same time, he does not have I compare him very much, and I think he should be very much compared. Just like Josh Allen and Lamar are compared so often, I think that Caleb Williams and Drake will have the same fate. And in the same places where Drake could not make the thing happen in the playoffs for the Patriots, Caleb Williams was.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, Caleb Williams has an offensive savant for a head coach. Drake May has a defensive head coach. But he also has Josh McDaniels. So that's where I start thinking we might be in for a Josh Allen type ride with Drake May.
Okay. I mean, I guess that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Like, they're still fun. They're fans.
No, it would not be the worst thing in the world.
No, like, they can't get over the hump, but there could be much worse in this town. I'll tell you that. I want to get into this season, but I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Christian Gonzalez and his contract negotiations? We had David Andrews is a contributor here at the Sports Hub, and he was on earlier today and put out a tweet saying that he's really impressed with the fact that he's still out there and still competing. I'm kind of in the camp that the big kind of conversation around him has been his health, and the best ability in this league is availability. So I think he almost kind of has to be out there. But what do you think about his contract? What's with the holdout? Where are your thoughts at here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Christian Gonzalez should be out there. This is not somebody, like a Vince Wilfork or a Matt Light or somebody back in the day who was like, hey, I want my contract. Logan Mankins, I think it was, not Matt Light. But he was drafted in 2023. He's been incredible. He's to me worth every penny that anybody would be paid. And at the end of the day, also, you are so early on in your career at this point. We don't have a ton of time to waste. You're in a Super Bowl window. And I think that that's something that makes him unique from other potential holdouts, other contract situations, is that, if you are in, and I understand that NFL players have short lifespans when it comes to health compared to other sports. But when you're in a Super Bowl window and your opportunity to not only make money now, but make money down the line is on the table in all of these negotiations, that's something you have to consider. Devin and Jason McCourty are on our televisions every week because they were champions, not because of the cash that they made in year 3. And so when you talk about your contract right now, I understand money right now. I understand all those things. Focus on getting it. You're going to get it. You're Christian Gonzalez. It is a no-brainer that you're going to get paid. And also, stay on the field. Don't blow this while you're in the window of staying competitive, going to divisional rounds and championship games and potentially more Super Bowls. Because down the line, that's what gets you paid when you can no longer play football. And I think for me, seeing Christian Gonzalez on the field and prioritizing football while trying to make that money, while trying to get that contract done, that's the most important thing. I don't want to see these guys end up in a spot where they lose future opportunities or they don't end up in a space that they want to be in post-playing. And I know it's so hard to tell a 23-year-old that, But it's just like, I've become like a mom in that way where I'm like, you should think about your future and keep playing football as long as you can because this is not going to go on that long.
Totally. I want to talk about this season, but you brought up the McCourties. Obviously, you, like myself, are a football sicko. You were watching the Hall of Fame game last night. And Maria Taylor brought up to Mike Tomlin and Devin McCourty the issue with Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini this offseason. Did you think that was fair or foul? I'm in the camp. Listen, we love a clickbait. We love a headline. We love a meme. We love to double down. You and I are one and the same in that. But it just felt random. It felt out of place, and it felt like the only reason it was brought up was because McCourty was there, or was it just such a big headline this offseason that it couldn't be ignored?
I think that it couldn't be ignored purely because at the end of the day, we have to be honest about what is going to be a surprising, salacious story. We're talking about a reporter and an NFL head coach. We're talking about, the kind of stuff that just doesn't get ignored, right? And I know in sports, we like to think that we are better than tabloids, but you and I both know we're not. On the flip side, this story is one of the more overblown in recent sports media memory. And, I'm only going to say so much, but I've been in sports media for 16 years. And when I tell you that it is nothing new that reporters have specific personal relationships with players, I know I'm not telling, players, coaches, GMs, executives, sometimes even owners, I'm not telling anything you don't know.
Yeah.
This is not something that is uniquely an issue for a reporter over any other type of extremely close personal relationship that a lot of people have. We just saw in the last couple of weeks a lot of the most connected reporters in the country ignore that, just totally not report that one of the most famous head coaches in the country, Kyle Shanahan, had been in a nearly fatal car accident. They didn't report that because of personal relationships, Kendra. And this is just what happens. So I genuinely think that the bigger issue is that Mike Vrabel did something that might distract, right? We always talk about distractions in football. You want to put that on him? Fine. He did something stupid that was going to distract from football. And that's something that he would chastise his players for. So he deserves a little bit of criticism. Do I think it's the be-all, end-all scandal of the century? Come on. Please. I'm sorry. I just know too much. I know too much to believe that.
You've seen too much. All right,
I really have.
Let's transition to this upcoming season. What are your expectations? What's realistic? What should people be hoping for this New England Patriots team?
They should be hoping that the Patriots make the playoffs and win a playoff game. And this is a much more difficult schedule this year. Are they playing the NFC North? They're playing the NFC North, right?
I believe
so. For their
yes.
So, that's a nightmare. They just have a much more difficult schedule. The Super Bowl hangover is real. Historically, you cannot say otherwise. And now you just brought up the biggest reasons why there might be questions around how this team can gel. If Mike Vrabel's in a weird place personally, you know what it's like to try to do your job when things are crazy in your personal life. It's very difficult. It doesn't stop because you're an NFL head coach. There's a lot working against them in terms of repeating any sort of success that they saw last year. I don't expect that. I don't expect them back in the Super Bowl. I do expect them to make the playoffs. I do expect them to be competitive with the Bills for the division. I think that that's going to be a battle. I expect that they should be in that battle till the end of the season. It would be a massive disappointment to me if the Bills had wrapped up the division by week 13, right?
Yeah.
But, get in there, win your first playoff game, whatever that is, whether it's wild card or divisional round. And I'll feel pretty good about that. I look around. I think that the Chiefs are going to be better than they were last year. The Bengals are a problem if Joe Burrow is healthy. I think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are going to be better than they were last year. The Bills are in the same sort of situation that the Patriots are in, where I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens here. But it's going to be down to those two teams, obviously. And so the cream of the crop in the AFC, there's not like a ton of teams ahead of them, but I have no reason to believe, based on this last season, on this sort of miracle run, that they are going to repeat and make some great run to the AFC Championship game again. Would I be shocked? No, I'd be more shocked if they didn't make the playoffs, though.
Okay. All right. So my final question for you before I let you go. Some reports coming out of training camp today that the offensive line is kind of what seems to be in shambles, for lack of a better term. No Will Campbell, Caleb Lomu not looking like he's probably NFL ready. Are you more worried about the offense or the defense this upcoming season?
I am always more worried about the offense with the Patriots. Post-Belichick, I'm always more worried about the offense. I've always said this, and, it's not the most NFL serious, I'm an analyst answer, but there are teams that have identities that you simply can't get past. For whatever reason, they just stick in the DNA of the stadium or something. Maybe it's the fan base. But like the Bears, no matter whether they're good, bad, whether they have a quarterback or not, whether they're making playoffs or not, they have a great defense. The Packers, no matter what they're doing, have a great quarterback. The Patriots, no matter what they're doing, have a really good defense that's going to pull it out. Sometimes they're bend, don't break. Sometimes they're top of the league in DVOA. But they've had an elite defensive-minded head coach for a really long time, and that sticks with an organization. Sometimes it's a carryover from coaching and just the front office and players. Obviously Mike Vrabel has the tie back to the Belichick dynasty, and there's a philosophy there that I saw applied to the team last season. And so I have major concerns about the offense, because to me, that's what sort of fell apart most specifically in the playoffs, where you really see, you separate the wheat from the chaff. And let's be honest, that offense was just brutal. And the defense really did their job over and over again. And I expect that to stay that way. I think Mike Vrabel could coach defense in his sleep. I genuinely think he's incredible. And Josh McDaniels is one of the best offensive coordinators of the last couple of decades, but you can only work with so much. And when you have issues on the offensive line, that's what happened to C.J. Stroud last year. He went from looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL to looking like what we saw last year, just falling apart at the end of the season. And that's concerning. So, yeah.
All right, sweet friend, before I let you go, what is your record prediction for the 2026 New England Patriots?
Oh my gosh. All right. All right. I'm going to give them 11 wins.
All right.
I'm going to give them, I'll give them 11 and 11 and 6. Right?
All right.
So, yeah.
All right. Where can everybody find you on socials?
Tanya Ray Fox everywhere. Luckily, if you start typing Tanya Ray, I'm usually the first thing that pops up. It's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, all the places.
Okay, sweet friends, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. We'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kendra. Have an awesome show.
Bye. She is Tanya Ray Fox. 11 wins for the New England Patriots. I think that's pretty realistic. What about you, Skaz? I think 11 wins probably...
I'm right in that 10-11 ballpark. I think that's pretty fair.
Does that win you a division, 11 games?
I think so.
Okay. I think that kind of has to be the expectation, to be honest. There's a want, there's a need at this point, and... we know that Josh Allen can't win the big one. I don't want that to become Drake May. All right, 617-779-0985 is the phone number. Let's hit a break, hit a headline, and right back to you on the other side.
You're listening to Joe Murray.
15 strikeouts in the 13-1 win against the homeless Athletics. The two sides will run it back at Fenway Park tomorrow at 4:10 p.m. Patriots had a scrimmage today. Romeo Doubs back out there, and no Will Campbell today. Lots of moving parts on the offensive line. Definitely something to watch as training camp continues on. Elsewhere in the NFL, Peter Skoronski, now the highest paid guard in the NFL for the Tennessee Titans. He signed a 4-year, $100 million contract. And Andy Reid saying Patrick Mahomes will not be available for their first preseason game of the season. Sports Up headlines were brought to you by DN Van Lines. Take the chance out of your move and make the sure bet with DN Van Lines, an approved mover of the Department of Defense, dnvanlines.com. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub, Boston's home for sports. I'm Kendra Middleton, and your next update is around 10:30.
This is what happens when analysts take over the games, take over the sport.
This is where you talk sports.
It happens all the time.
The Sports Hub.
Welcome back to the Joe Show. Kendra Middleton here with you for one final hour, filling in for Joe Murray. The Red Sox winners once again, a 9th game in a row. Pretty much, we can call it a historic season at this point. The interim manager, Chad Tracy, is talking to the media right now. So if he says anything of note, which I'm not sure you can really say anything of note in a 13-1 victory, but if he does, we will get that audio for you. I'm very much in the camp that we talked about this earlier. Can we just remove the term interim from his title? He's the manager of the Boston Red Sox. He has earned that right. You guys are all ready to talk about Peyton Tolley and his 14 career high strikeouts tonight. So let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Steve in Whitman. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Kendra, you're doing a great job. Just must say that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let me tell you. So I had kind of a life change, and a lot of the cable situation went to, what do we purchase? So Nesson 360, they finally got me. And it wasn't last night, it was the night before, which was a good game. But then to get to sit and watch what people are calling maybe the game of the regular season, right? How special. Pretty cool. They got my money. I probably would have paid them $30 to not watch them the first half of the season. So I just kind of find that kind of funny. And I was a little bit superstitious that I would be the reason that once I paid for it, they would start losing. It didn't go that way, and it's not going that way, and that makes me very happy as a huge Boston sports fan. So just wanted to share that with you.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. I also appreciate the kind words. I'm so glad that this city is having fun. I said this earlier tonight. This city, this kind of region is just so, in comparison to any other team in town, when the Red Sox are good, no other team when they're good changes the vibe of the town like the Red Sox do. It's contagious. And I don't know if it's more fun because of how bad of a start they got off to this season that fans were just fiending for it. I'll take whatever they're going to give us. They're giving us a season, which is more than we could have asked for 2 months ago. Anything on this is gravy. It's free guacamole. It's a free ride. The Boston Red Sox can do no wrong for the rest of the season, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys, unless for some reason they don't remove that interim title from Chad Tracy's name. Let's go to Justin and Lynn, who wants to talk about the Red Sox. Hello, Justin.
Justin, I want to talk about the Red Sox. This is a historical run that they're on. And, I didn't see this coming, and this continues to be amazing, and last night's game in particular was amazing. They didn't want to lose that game last night. Tonight, not the case, but last night's game I thought was the game of the year.
I agree, Justin. Thanks so much for the call. It was the game of the year, and I don't know about anyone out there or you, Skaz, but when I was watching last night's game, you could almost just see like the flip of the switch with the team where they didn't want to lose that game and they weren't going to lose that game. And there became a point where you knew that they weren't going to lose that game. A switch just flipped. They are not ready to go back to the Red Sox that they were. I think that if you, even people other than, Rutschman coming back from injury, if you mess up the vibe or whatever juju this team has going on, leave Trevor Story at home, honestly, leave Roman Anthony in Florida. I don't care. I don't mess with the vibes of this team until they go on a streak that feels like you can introduce somebody else for addition, because right now we've talked about a theme of addition by subtraction so far tonight. I think that's exactly what's going on with this Red Sox team.
Yeah, and I think, last night was kind of the perfect example, of the entire season for this team, refusing to quit, coming back. And what really stood out to me was, that they got one back for Chapman, a guy who's kind of been unflappable for them. Even when they weren't great, he was, amazing. And then, when was the last time he let up a home run in a situation like that? Had to have been, at least a month, and they battle right back and bail him out. And that's just the kind of team they've become. Like a couple months ago, Chapman lets up that home run. That's the end of the game. They lose that game. They go out in a whimper in the ninth inning, and they're down to the last strike. Wilyer Abreu comes through. Duran has some big moments, and then it's Sogard and Siegler and Monasterio. So I'm with you. It's addition by subtraction, and Chad Tracy, I think, deserves all the credit in the world.
I gotta be honest, we talked earlier this evening about how it almost feels like you're waiting for the shoe to drop with this team because they don't have the star power. They just have a weird chemistry that nobody can explain. It is one of the craziest sports phenomenons of my lifetime where I can't remember another team that had a turnaround like this. If you can, please be my guest, but I can't. And so this team earlier in this season, I wouldn't even recognize them. And so the fact that we're here is just such a treat. And I'm having fun and I don't want it to end. But and like others on this station, specifically Matt McCarthy, I remember saying him saying he wasn't going to take this team seriously until they made it through that stretch after the All-Star break. I have to be honest, I don't think I started taking them seriously until after the Dodgers series. That was really kind of the eye-opening moment for me. And do I think that this is a World Series team? No, I think that the expectation here is to make the playoffs. And if you win a playoff game, even better. That's way better off than we would have been talking about months ago. But now that I've seen them perform the way they did against the Dodgers, it was a David versus Goliath type of situation, especially because they truly have become the villains of baseball in the last couple of weeks after the Skubal deal. So I don't think that this team can afford to bring back anybody until, for some reason, whatever magic they have going on wears off. I really don't think that they can afford to do that. And the fact that they've won is the streaks that they've gone on this season, it truly is a historic season, and it's going to be a real bummer if it dies. I think that there is such a difference between sports fans in town, and I know that everybody here loves all of the Boston teams for the most part, right? But everybody here has a team that they favor more than the others. I don't know how to kind of judge what Red Sox fans are going to be like when this team melts down, because we were talking earlier about kind of the mental health of the diehard Red Sox fans in town when the team was really going through it. I can't decide if the fans in town are going to have expectations now and wants and needs out of this season, or if this just magical, 6 weeks, whatever, 8 weeks it's going to be, whatever it's going to be, is enough to satisfy the itch of the diehard Red Sox fan in town. Because I can tell you, Patriots fans would be pissed. The sky would be falling and the roof would be on fire. Celtics fans would be in the fetal position, pointing fingers and crying. And I think Bruins fans would be trying to fist fight somebody over a beer in the crowd. Red Sox fans, I really can't predict how you guys are going to react to whatever outcome this season is going to have. Skaz, there is such a difference between the diehard fan of every single team in this town.
Yeah, and I think, history is a big part of that. There's the damaged Bruins fans. There's your Pink Hat Red Sox fans. It kind of comes with the territory.
That term.
Yeah, I know. And I think Red Sox ownership is kind of done this to the fan base because, and Joe Murray's been on this, but no one in sports is better at going worst to first than the Boston Red Sox and John Henry. It's kind of their thing, unfortunately. They'll be in last place and then they'll win a World Series the next year. They've done it multiple times. I do, wonder. I think the offseason is going to tell you a lot. What do they do? Do they go after a shortstop? How much do they really believe in Franklin Arias? Because my belief is not that much, because all the rumors we've heard was that they were hell-bent on getting a shortstop, but they allegedly have the guy in AAA who's supposed to be the future. So I think that's some mixed messaging there. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out after this season. But I still think it comes back to money. If they spend money and field a good baseball team, the fans will be happy. If you don't spend money and they suck, they're going to hear about it. And I don't know if you were made aware of this, but did you happen to catch Linda Pizzuti's Instagram stories last night?
I did not.
So Linda Pizzuti, obviously the wife of John Henry, fairly active, I would say, on social media, but she was posting from inside their suite last night during extra innings. And in the videos, I think we may actually have them in the system. I'll play you a little sound here. Let me just make sure I can pull it up. But a very dialed in John Henry, a very attentive John Henry, I would say. Where is it here? I had it in my files. But John Henry actually caring. Here we go. This is a mashup of what you would have heard if you tuned into Linda Pizzuti's Instagram stories last night. And I do think this is something that Red Sox fans, it may seem small, but I think it actually does matter a little bit.
There it is. Tie game. Tie game. Oh, everybody moves up. The one guy is, well, that's going to tie it. There's two after the line injury. Pops it up.
Jaron Duran popping it up.
Oh, we win the game. We win the game.
So, yes, does he sound like Mr. Burns and does he sound like an old man? Yes.
I was going to say he sounds like my grandpa when I would go over and watch the Atlanta Braves games with him and eat Popeye's chicken.
I mean, he's not far off, but that's the most lively John Henry content we've gotten, and not exaggerating.
Since the cigar.
Well, yeah, since that, and that didn't really go so well, but actual audio out of John Henry's mouth, I would say that's the most we've gotten in, 6 years or something like that. So John Henry is making himself publicly available. He was in the stands the other night. He walked down and sat amongst the people, which is something you couldn't have imagined a few months ago. So I would just warn the Red Sox. They kind of also lead the league in premature celebrations when it comes to this stuff. Just, don't get too ahead of yourselves. Let the baseball team be the story.
I gotta be honest. They're spreading the love so much that Jaron Duran had a home run tonight.
He's been good.
What a time. What a time to be a Boston Red Sox fan. What a time to be in Boston. This city might make me stay a little bit longer if they revive the 2010 sports era. I gotta be honest. I would stay for that. I would delay moving back to Sunshine for a little while if we got those vibes and those parties. All right, 617-779-0985 if you want to talk about the Red Sox. That was our post-game minute. When we come back, I have the football itch. You have the football itch. Let's get into all of the kind of national stories that you might have missed in training camp. I think that that's a good thing to hit before everybody has their fantasy football drafts and we get really far into all of that. Maybe it'll help you do some prep work, make you remember some things. We're going to do that on the other side. Kendra Middleton in for Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
We've talked Hall of Fame game. We've talked college football. We've done it all. We've had a guest. We've had calls. We've had everything. But I want to talk some national NFL here because if you're listening to this and not, Red Sox post game, you're probably a football sicko. You're ready. You're sweating. That's why you're listening to me and not our, people across the street. So I want to talk about all of the major things going on before we head into this season, kind of talk about training camp across the league so far. There's been some major stories. I am really, really itching for the video of Max Crosby and Kirk Cousins allegedly getting in a fight today. I saw Will Blackman and I can't remember his name. Somebody else on Twitter saying that they know both of those players and that Kirk Cousins would actually beat the tattoos off of Max Crosby. And weirdly, I kind of see that. Kirk Cousins gives the energy of a crazy white guy that you really don't want to F with. Yeah, Max Crosby looks scary. I highly doubt that anyone listening to this program is on the internet enough to know the trend of it's where you show a friend group of girls and it's looks like a cinnamon roll is a cinnamon roll, looks like a cinnamon roll will kill you, looks like they would kill you is a cinnamon roll. Max Crosby gives the vibe that he looks like he will kill you and is a cinnamon roll. So I think that weirdly in a way makes sense in my brain. However, if you guys know me, if you listen to me, whether it's on Action Network, whether it's here, whether it's on Saturdays, you know that I have had my tinfoil truther hat on about the San Francisco 49ers and their stupid radio waves from that facility. I don't know if you saw this, Skaz, but there is now a parody account of the electromagnetic factory field thing, whatever.
The substation, I believe.
Yes, and whenever someone gets hurt, it just tweets it and says nom nom nom. I'm sorry, I do not root for injury. I hate injury, but that is a level of comedic genius that I strive to be. I would love to be that funny. So I want to start with the 49ers because I feel like I would be doing myself and you a disservice if I didn't contribute to the discourse surrounding this substation, okay? Nick Bosa, out with soreness. Dre Greenlaw, out with soreness. Kyle Juszczyk, finger fracture. Mike Evans, quad, shocker. And then a bunch of other guys on this injury report. So many people. And Ricky Pearsall probably not playing at all this season. You cannot tell me with a roster like this that weirdly this substation situation is not contributing to whatever kind of weird vibe injury-wise has been going on in San Francisco for years. This has been the best roster in football on paper, on the field when they're healthy, plug-and-play offense for Brock Purdy, baller defense. I always cheer for a team who runs the fullback, but they cannot stay healthy and put the pieces together for a single season. So that is a huge takeaway. We're all going to be on substation watch, okay? We're on guard. We're on watch. We're on duty. The next thing I want to talk about, there is 2 weeks ago, if you would have been like Kendra Middleton right now, who is starting for the Cleveland Browns this season, I probably would have said Deshaun Watson. But now he's thrown 8 picks in practice in 9 days. The worst contract in NFL history by far. It has to be Shedeur Sanders at this point. And weirdly, I don't think that Deion Sanders being at practice is a nothing burger. I get that it's his kid. Parents go to practice all the time. But Deion doesn't show up places to not be seen or to say something crazy to somebody.
So you're not a Dylan Gabriel believer then?
I wish that I was, but no, I'm not. It's got to be Shedeur. But to be honest, I think the one thing, I think Cleveland had an incredible draft. But the nice thing, weirdly, about Browns fans is that it doesn't really matter who's starting at quarterback. Your ceiling's still kind of the same. Like the ceiling for their expectations, no matter who is there, there's really not that big of a drop off. Okay? Like, I'm sorry. I don't know if that hurts anybody's feelings that might be a Browns fan out there, but there's really no difference between those three. I think that they need to win some games for morale and for the city and not just kind of tank for a quarterback next year because clearly whatever you're doing is not working. The people with the jerseys of all the quarterbacks they've had over the years, kudos to you guys because woof. But they need some morale talk. The next thing, the injury bug, the Bears safety Kobe Bryant expected to miss 8 to 10 weeks. That's huge. We already talked about Nick Bosa and Mike Evans. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, was he just sitting out for a contract? Is he actually hurt? That's the weird question mark vibe for me there. Bijan Robinson gets paid, rightfully so. I think that they're going to have to depend on him a ton this season, although I don't know if he would be. Skaz, do you play fantasy football?
I do.
Would you be Bijan or Jahmyr?
I'm a Bijan guy.
Okay.
I think just that. I think he might be the best football player in the NFL that's not named Myles Garrett.
Okay. I am a Justin Herbert hater. Do you take anything away from him and Madison Beer canoodling at practice, or does he have a get out of jail free card?
So I didn't really understand. Like, practice was over. He's sitting on the field with his girlfriend. Like, I get he's Justin Herbert and she's Madison Beer, but I didn't think anything was too salacious about it. I did see you had a very nice Madison Beer tweet today, Kendra. I was a big fan of that one. I don't know anything about Madison Beer other than the fact that she's dating Justin Herbert. Is she a big
singer?
Enough,
yeah.
Oh, but is she a big enough celebrity in her own right that like headlines could be a distraction for Justin Herbert? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
she's been famous for a very long time.
Yeah, but Justin Herbert is like, if there was an eligible bachelor in the NFL, it was Justin Herbert.
No, it'd be Joe Burrow. Are you joking?
Okay, would you? I mean, he's 6'6". He's the star quarterback.
Joe Burrow. Next question.
But Joe Burrow lives in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Don't care.
But I just think like Justin Herbert, L.A., it works. Like, I don't think it's shocking he's with Madison Beer. If anything, I think it's shocking how Harbaugh's handled Justin Herbert. But for me, I'm out on Justin Herbert. I think he's overrated to this point in his career.
Oh, 100%.
But happy for him off the field.
Yeah, the kid has no clutch gene. I do think he gets a weird get-out-of-jail-free card because if that were my girlfriend, I, too, would be missing practice to take her to the airport and canoodling her at practice.
Come on, what are we doing?
Yeah. All right. Hot takes, guys. Aaron Rodgers, will Drew Aller take over by the middle of the season, yes or no?
I'm unfortunately a Drew Aller believer. I thought Drew Aller was going to be really good. He stunk at the end of his college career. He's a guy who should have come out earlier, would have been a benefit for him. I don't see Aaron Rodgers getting benched this season, but it's not out of the realm of possibility he gets hurt or just flat out sucks and walks away. I don't think those things are out of the realm of possibility. So apparently all the reports are that Aller's been very good. That's a first-year head coach. He doesn't owe Aaron Rodgers anything. I can see Drew Aller starting for that team at some point.
Starting at some point.
At some point, yeah.
All right.
Can I ask you one, Kendra?
Yes.
Where are you on the great quarterback debate in Minnesota?
I have this pulled up right now to ask you
We're on the same page.
thing. Can I give you a hot take?
Please.
I think weirdly it should be Carson Wentz. I know that's insane. It's Kyler Murray. It's the obvious answer here is Kyler Murray. But if I'm Justin Jefferson, I am asking for a trade by week 8. You cannot. This team on paper, we talk about a plug-and-play offense that just needs a quarterback. When I think about teams like that, I think about the Atlanta Falcons. I think about the 49ers. I think about this Vikings team. Absolutely loaded, primed for a Super Bowl in a tough division. Probably embrace debate, Skaz. Toughest division in football, NFC North.
NFC, I mean, the Lions are a hell of a team. Bears, Pack. I mean, they're certainly right up there. I'm trying to think. The AFC West, I think, is going to be good, but the Raiders are so bad.
I don't believe in the Broncos.
See, I'm not a Bo Nix guy either, but I think their roster is I think they have an elite roster. I don't believe in Bo Nix. I think he actually kind of stinks. But, I think if you wanted to say NFC North best division, I think you have a legitimate argument.
I would love to say that KOC is a quarterback whisperer, but I think if that were the case, the leash on JJ McCarthy would have a little bit different length to it. And I don't know if, as bad as he's been and as weird as he is, he has looked okay in training camp. The reports coming out of there it's pretty dead even. So I think that they're kind of in a spot where I don't know how the rallying behind it, the reports coming out are that the coaches like Kyler Murray and the team is rallying behind JJ McCarthy. I don't understand this reporting because I'm not sure if you remember, but when Kyler Murray was signed to this team, JJ McCarthy and Kyler Murray both did press conferences. And JJ McCarthy was very immature at the podium, this is my job, I don't have to like him, we don't have to be friends, blah, blah, blah. And Kyler Murray was very much I'm ready to get to work, whatever the decision is for this team, I'm here for the team. Very buttoned up professional. We understand the age disparity and the PR training between the two. However, how can you look me in the eyes and tell me with your whole chest that this team is rallying behind a child who stood up at the podium and cried like that? I'm sorry, you can't. Teams rally behind veterans. I don't believe you. You're sitting on a throne of lies. I'm calling your BS. There's absolutely no way. I do think that Kyler Murray immediately gives them the better chance to be winners, but I really think that this whole quarterback debacle divide between whoever is going to be the downfall of this team. And I'm sorry, I don't care if Kyler Murray looks like the guy who is running half a mile on a field in a minute to win the game by pulling a drive out of his butt. I don't care. He's not winning this division. He's not winning a Super Bowl. You can clip this. I don't care. The kid can't see over his offensive line, and the only guy to ever be able to do that and win a Super Bowl will be Drew Brees. Clock it. Okay? That's it. But this is going to be really interesting. The true quarterback battles that we have going into this season, I think are what are potentially going to make this season so special and so entertaining. We're going to get, the AFC battles, the NFC West, those types of things. But I think that these are going to be the most entertaining storylines. I have to be honest. So those are kind of my thoughts heading into all right, Skaz, I'm going to ask you, out of all the quarterback battles, for fantasy football purposes, who would you take a stab at? I feel like it's got to be Kyler.
Oh, so I'm not the biggest Kyler guy. I think because of Jefferson, he certainly needs to be considered.
Do you fade JJ because of that?
I think a little bit.
Me too.
Is it crazy, especially coming from a Patriots fan, that I kind of want to say Tua? You get Tua with that offense indoors, He doesn't have to worry about, all his home game. Yeah, I know he was in Miami, but now he's completely in the climate controlled. He's going to play the Panthers. He doesn't have to come up to Buffalo in New England anymore. Like that Falcons offense has weapons, and I haven't seen much out of Michael Penix to make me think he's going to beat out Tua. So if I see Tua, starting for the Falcons, he's not a bad, we know he can put up numbers when he has weapons. He just can't play in the cold.
I don't think that he can survive a season. That's my thing. Like, whether it's an injury to not his brain or, one bad hit, I think that that's my issue with putting any stock in the Falcons. Like, that's another team, plug and play quarterback away. That roster it's a great roster. They've had some really crappy injuries, and a rest that is one of the most absolutely insane stories I've ever read in my life. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to give it the time of day, because I don't think it deserves it, and I don't think it deserves the clicks or whatever you're going to give it. But that team, they have a good roster, but I don't think that they're going to make the most out of it. Like, there were better decisions that they could have made. And Malik Willis in Miami, like, what is happening?
I wanted your take on that. How are Dolphins fans? Are they all in on Malik Willis?
I think that there's a weird divide of people who are in on Malik Willis because he showed us half an ounce of magic for a week last year, and it was probably like that had to be like who signed him? I'm sorry.
It's like Matt Flynn all over again when the Seahawks went out of their way to hand him $100 million because he had one good game.
It's giving Nick Foles to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sorry. Wow, I'm traumatized. And then the other half of the fan base that is just like, let's tank for Arch Manning. That's pretty much it. I think that's literally it. Okay, 617-779-0985. We'll be back with something.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, the Red Sox winners again at Fenway Park. No need for pants when you're streaking like this. They beat the homeless Athletics 13-1 after a clinic from Peyton Tolley. The two sides will run it back tomorrow at Fenway Park at 4:10 p.m. And interim manager Chad Tracy saying that Adley Rutschman will begin his rehab assignment. Show Kendra Middleton here with you for one final segment. Skaz is trying to get me fired with our conversations off the air this evening, but let's go to you on the phones. Let's go to T in Rhode Island, who wants to talk about the NFL. Good evening.
Hey, what's up, Kendra? I just want to run through a couple things. Been listening all night. Just wanted to weigh in. I'm right there with you on the Red Sox. I boycotted the Red Sox all year. I want them to win. I'm enjoying this. I'm watching the highlights, but I don't like seeing the ownership get away with this. Like, we're not the Kansas City Royals or the Tampa Bay Rays or the Milwaukee Brewers, as Felger would say it, right? Like, when did the Boston Red Sox become a middle-tiered team? We're supposed to be royalty, baseball royalty. So I'm right there with you. I'm not going to root against them. They're a tremendous story, but I'm on a boycott with them, because I think it's fool's gold too, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, we're having fun.
The NFL. Yeah, as for the NFL, it's just, I'm an addict, I'd rather listen to you over any Red Sox. Like, EI kind of stinks. Sorry, I said EI. I shouldn't have even said it. But Sports Hub for life, like Skaz and Joe Murray, even the discussion about the restaurant with the nude stuff earlier, that was hilarious. Are you kidding me? Like that skit with Joe Murray? Come on, I don't need to see anybody's meat while I'm eating my meat. I'm going to drop the mic right there. And last thing for you, Kendra, I appreciate you. You gave me a suggestion for Capital Burger on Newbury Street. Mm-hmm. Tremendous. Mm-hmm. So good. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
Thank you, T.
And keep doing your thing. I met you at the book, and I'm a Broncos fan, so I'm still skeptical on this
remember you.
thing. But I'll take Bo Nix over. Let me name them out: Jared Stidham, Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Case Keenum, Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco. I'll take Bo Nix over any of those guys.
All right. Great night. Thanks, T. You too. Call of the night.
Call of the night, and I'm shocked he didn't mention Brock Osweiler in that mix.
Yeah. Call of the night. Yeah, that was That was a lot. I had things I wanted to say, but Capital Burger does rule. I got to be honest.
Nice like show and review too.
Yeah, no, Capital Burger goes so crazy. Okay, let's talk to Andrew on the SEC in Bridgewater. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, what's going on, Kendra? How are we doing tonight?
I'm really good. How are you?
Good. I'm actually getting ready to head down to Ole Miss.
Nice.
Heading down tomorrow. My daughter's going to be a freshman, so wanted to stir up some college football talk.
Wow, congratulations. That's awesome. What do you want to talk about? Anything in particular? You just want like a preview of the SEC, preview of the season?
I mean, what are we thinking about Ole Miss? Got a match up with LSU, facing off with Lane Kiffin. I mean, I don't know. We'll start there.
I think that Ole Miss, thank you for the call, Andrew. I love to talk about the SEC. Congrats to your daughter. Wishing her all the best. Thanks for listening. I think Ole Miss, we have had such a theme of addition by subtraction this evening. And I really think that Ole Miss is going to thrive without Lane Kiffin there. I have to be honest.
Are you a Trinidad Chambliss
I was
Heisman?
just going to say
Yeah.
I am a Trinidad Chambliss apologist. I like that he's playing another season. I think that was the right decision. I think that we really kind of grant a lot of weird excuses to college football players sometimes. But at the end of the day, they're still kids. They just want to play football with their friends. And